There's the mic. Okay. Let's turn on the spot cam. So I should be able to turn this a little bit more this way. Hey, Ian, you are first. Oh, Matt made it first. Ooh, he beat you by a sliver. Matt, my back has been destroying me lately. There's one muscle on the back, where the love handle is in the back, it'll cramp up and spasm. And the pain only lasts for a couple of seconds, but it'll put you on your goddamn knees. I'm worried it's my mattress. I'm worried I may have broken the mattress again. So I turned the mattress around to see if that changes anything. And if in a few days it hasn't gotten better, I'm going to get my old mattress out. But this is a different kind of pain. The last couple times when I had a bad mattress, it was structural pain, skeletal pain. This is a muscle. The muscle on the right hand side is just cramping up like a Charlie horse, but in your back. So it's a different kind of pain. Whoa. I've been kind of going crazy with SD card cases. You wouldn't think I'd have a problem with SD cards with so many printers and every one of them comes with an SD card, but you'd also be amazed at how rapidly you destroy those SD cards. They just don't last very long. The cheap ones they include with the printers, they die fast. I mean, just in the last week, I murdered... No, these are my good cards. Those are my big ones, name brand ones. I think it's in this case. Yeah. These are my latest victims. These two cards died this week. You know, just one too many times, you stick them in the USB reader and that's it. They stop reading. Yeah, unmarked. It just says micro SDHC 1 gigabyte. And then this one just says micro SDHC 4 gigabytes. And this is one of my favorite cases. I love this little carousel case. But I found a cooler one that I like too. And I fixed a couple too. Like this one here is nice. I love how thin it is. You put this over here. This over here. Turn this up a little bit. I love how thin this one is. It's a really nice design, but man, it could be hard to manipulate with your fingers. But I love this. I love that layout because you get to actually see the cards. So I made one that does both. I merged the internal part of that with the external part of this and made it thinner. This one was always neat. The little pill case one holds 4 little cards, but there's a tab inside of there. That's a friction tab. It's designed to be compliant and bend out of the way so friction holds the card in there. Hey, 3D for Joe. But it always seizes up. Those tabs always seize up unless you have your settings really tuned well. And I finally got an itty bitty rocket to print. I think I'm finally getting that one printer tuned for the 0.2 millimeter nozzle. But yeah, that little rocket, the bottom started to fail, and then I jacked up the flow rate a little bit, 5%, and that was enough. And the feeder unit was starting to slip, so I fixed that, took it apart, reassembled it, tightened it up. But yeah, a little itty bitty nose cone. I mean, this probably weighs 3 or 4 grams, maybe 5 grams. So well within the weight capacity of a Micromax motor. The trick will be to see, you know, if you can handle the ejection charge being so thin. It is a double wall tube, just like I do all my tubes. I'm hoping that will allow it to handle the ejection charge for such a little tiny motor. But yeah, I've been kind of having fun shrinking all my rockets. I got this size, and where's the other one? Then you got this size, and then you got a size bigger than that, and then you got, of course, the monster size. If that ain't big enough for you, then you got that size. Oh, there goes the nose cone. We got all the sizes. Because why not, right? Yeah. From 10 millimeter to 3 inches, or 78 millimeter. So from 10 millimeter to 78 millimeter. Yeah, people have been telling me about that sciatica crap. And that is crap. And so I made my own case design. So you can see it's a whole lot thinner. So this one here is mine. I also put that knurling on both sides instead of the different knurling. I know why he did the different knurling. Is so you can differentiate top from bottom. So you know that the fine knurling is the top of the case. That's why he did that. But I wanted to get somewhere in between this one and this one, or these two. Somewhere in between. And then, keep the Prusa Mark IV. Well, not the XL, but another Prusa. I haven't seen that. So there it is. I combined the two cases into one. And so now you have that nice little display of your micro SD cards. Now on this part here, I actually got to reprint these. I got rid of half the threads because you don't need that many threads. I hate having to sit here and turn and turn and turn and turn and turn and turn to get the cards in there. It doesn't need that many threads, so I got rid of half the threads. And but check that out. I did a multicolor. There you go. And I can't show them to you, so you're going to have to wait until Sunday's video to see it. But I have one with 5 colors. So the text is orange, the cat is purple, there's a green ring going around it, a little silver rocket ship with a little red flame for the exhaust. So I did technically this gray also makes a 6 color, this is a marble color. So I made a 6 color SD card case without any kind of, almost no wastage, and without any kind of crap, His moan, oh, about the, yeah, I didn't know there was one either. Hey, YouTube's got a pop-out for your dashboard so you can see connection status, views, concurrent viewers, chat rate, stuff like that. That's nice. So I don't have to overlay screens and try to keep them. I can actually tile them. So I'm glad to see they did that. Except why can't I click on that? Am I pressing a key on the keyboard or something? Must have been. Let's see. Prusa MK4. It is kind of due for an update. $1,100. It better be a hell of an update. Wow. Capable of reaching 572 degrees. Is it me, or does it look an awful lot like a Wanhao Duplicator i3V2? And I don't mean that in an insulting way. That was a great printer. But it looks an awful lot like one. A sub 20-minute benchy? That's impressive. I'm trying to find more pictures. There's not a whole lot of pictures. You know, I'm tired of your crap. And then you can't go back because it cascades through a bunch of different pages. Like, you assholes. Hey, Francis. And then they do something to the links so that you can't, oh yeah, it's a pop-up, not a link. Assholes. I hate proprietary pages. I hate it so much. What is a no VFA motor? Oh, it's just a high precision stepper? I'll have to watch the video later. I wish they would increase the print volume of the printer just a little bit. And I don't need a goddamn 250 wide. I need a 250 tall. Why don't they just make it 220 by 220 by 250 like everybody else does? Instead, they have this oddball 250 by 210 by 220. So I basically have to treat it as a 220 cubed printer. Where's that switch here? Monitor. Oh, wrong monitor. That monitor. I can shove this over here like that. But you know, it's just they always do this oddball size. You know, square it up, Prusa. How about 250 cubed? No, I can't show the video. That's a good way, even if they don't intend to, that's a good way to get an automated copyright strike. Or at least a demonetization, so I can't show the video. So, if you want to, you guys can watch the video on your end, but I can't show the video live on the stream. Yeah, I've had that happen. It's just automatic. They just, Prusa doesn't have to do anything, even if they don't intend to. They would probably be okay with it, but yeah, YouTube's automated system. Had that happen with my when I streamed the SpaceX launch, the Falcon Heavy, I think it was, and it got demonetized almost immediately, and I appealed it, and of course SpaceX said no problem, let them stream it, but like I said, it's automated, it's on YouTube's end. And the problem is, by the time Prusa goes, you don't have to stop that. Let him do it. It's too late. All the money's gone. As little as it is, but, you know, it'd all be gone. But I wish they would square up the print bed. You know, like, either do a 220, 220, 250, which 99% of the rest of the printers in the world do, or go one up, 250 cubed. 250 cubed is a nice size. The printer doesn't grow very much, but you're really starting to encroach on what CR10s can do. You know, when I say CR10, I mean that class of printer, without being huge. So I really wish they would do like a 250 cube. Just 250, 250, 250. I like the idea of quick swap nozzles. What is this? Oh, this is the MMU. Yeah, that's the MMU. Hey, Rick, how are you doing? An X-ray of one of their processors. What? Did it? All right. That's interesting. Current sensing on the board is pretty nice. I think you just learned what the book's about. Where's that? Well, it's not a single cable. Well, yeah, I guess a cable is multiple wires. But yeah, that's nice. A daughter board, nice. They make such damn good printers. They're just so expensive. I wish they weren't so expensive. Do I see reminiscing of a slice hot end on there? It looks kind of sort of similar to a slice hot end. And it's going to print a benchy in 19 minutes. That's actually impressive. Well, they're not overpriced, okay? First of all, they're a first world country. That means they have first world wages and salaries. That's automatically going to double the price of your product. Just double it. Whatever your price was from China, double it at minimum. So now your $400 printer is an $800 printer. Okay? And that's what their kit costs, about 800 bucks. Um, yeah, well, here's the thing though. If they improve the quality so much that draft mode looks almost as good as the previous model's quality mode, that's pretty impressive by itself. I mean, let's be fair. Most of those 20-minute benchies don't look perfect. You're definitely making sacrifices to print that fast. I mean, I don't know about you, but how big of a difference do you see between these two benchies? Not freaking much. I mean, this overhang here is a little worse on this one, and I'm betting you can tune that out. But otherwise, in general, you know, they got a little bit of a bulge at the beginning of the pipe stack here, where this one's relatively smooth, but even this one has a tiny little bulge there. I mean, the port up front is not quite as clean, but damn it, this draft mode 20-minute benchy is better than 99% of the benchies you see people posting out there. You know, the ones that take 90 minutes to print. I don't remember how good it was, but also remember the P1P is a Chinese-made printer. So if you were to sell the P1P as a US-made printer or a Belgium-made printer, it'd be $1,400 to $1,600. Remember, double the price. All right, so they can afford to sell that printer for half the price because it's being made in China with Chinese wages and Chinese economics and Chinese infrastructure. You know, it's just it's a fundamental. It's like complaining. It's not quite as bad as this, but it's similar to complaining that you can't make a product as good as my Star Trek replicator product. Well, no shit. I have a antimatter powered starship with a replicator on board. Okay, so it's really not fair to compare and I hate calling it first world because that's kind of xenophobic, maybe. I don't know what you'd call that, but it's not right anymore. But I don't have any other word for it. It's not fair. It's not a just comparison to compare, you know, a WeDo M40 or an Ender 3 to a Prusa or a Ultimaker or a G Create. You know, it's not fair, or a Lulzbot when they were made in the U.S. It's not possible to make a $200 3D printer in the United States or any country with an economic status similar to the United States unless it's made in an automated fashion with no human beings being employed. You can't do it. I mean, even our 1/3 what it should be minimum wage of $7.25 is too high to make a printer without charging $1,000 for it. You have to. It's just the way it is. And then, of course, you have support. Any kind of support at all. You're adding hundreds of dollars to your product. That's how you pay for it. That's how you pay for support. And you don't get a ton of support from Prusa, but you do get support. And but they shift a lot of that support over to community forums, which helps them save money. Otherwise, it'd be a $1,500 printer, not an $1,100 printer. So $1,100 is about on par. They're actually doing pretty good. I mean, I'm betting you this thing probably can't beat a P1P, but I'm willing to bet you it'll give a P1P a run for its money. But you know what the P1P has over this? 256 cubed build volume. At least the build height's 220 now instead of 210. I think the old one was 210. I have to design all of my parts to be 200 millimeters tall because of printers like Prusa's that only have a 200 millimeter build volume. You know, Prusa's and Sapphires and stuff like that only have a 200 millimeter build volume. Even my goddamn Ender 2 has a 225 millimeter build volume. Well, 224. But even my Ender 2 can print to 225 millimeters. So it's just, that's a pet peeve of mine. I guess it's because I print rockets. If I weren't heavily printing rockets, then I guess I wouldn't care so much about build height. But when you're building rockets, more build height means fewer parts. So for example, when I built this rocket here, this is my latest. Let's switch back to this. So this is the upscale of the QCC Explorer. Really cool design. It's got these, like, you know, obviously fake, but these air intake ducts. And I was able to model that whole thing. There's your motor mount, launch lugs, and rail guides built in. You know, mid-body split. So there's your two halves of your rocket. I guess I should go this way. So, but this rocket takes 4 primary components. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then of course you have the connector pieces. But if I printed this on the Prusa, it would take, you know, um, 9 components, because you lose a little bit of space to the connector. So it would take 9 pieces to make this on the Prusa. And worse, this piece, this complicated piece, would have to be 2 pieces. And that'd be annoying, which would require an additional sleeve to connect those 2 pieces, because you couldn't thread them, because you'd never get it aligned correctly. So by having a 400 millimeter build volume, I could build this in 4 pieces instead of 9 pieces. Or to be a more fair comparison, to print that on an Ender 3 would take 5 pieces. No, I'm sorry, 7 pieces versus 9 pieces on a Prusa. So you have to print 2 extra pieces. You have to have more connections to get the same length. But I guess that's specific to me and printing, little missiles. Most people aren't printing 2-meter tall rockets. So I guess that's a me thing and not a Prusa thing. Hey, Prusa, if you're watching, I'll abuse the living hell out of one if you send one to me. We'll see how many rockets I can make. I'll put a 0.2 millimeter nozzle on it, and that thing will crank out my little Micromax rockets. Seriously, hit me up. But I'm not big enough for Prusa. The people are more than willing to buy their alpha models. But and I don't blame them. It's not their fault. It's my fault. Ooh. But I'm telling you, that draft benchy looks pretty goddamn good. I mean, that's 95% as good as the best benchy I've ever printed. So I'm pretty impressed by that. And they kept the price the same. $1,100 for the fully assembled, $799 for the kit. $800 from a first world economic nation for a printer like that is pretty goddamn good. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, how much is an Ender 3 V2? Remember, the $1,100 is for the fully assembled one. Yeah, it's $250, $240 for an Ender 3 V2. I mean, and I would say there's a pretty big difference between those machines. Just the electronics alone. I mean, just the hot end alone. I mean, the hot end on a Prusa is probably worth as much as an Ender 3. So, it's not a bad deal. It's not a bad machine. And you can get the MK3S Plus now for $700. Or $900 fully assembled. But why would you? Why would you just pay the extra $200 and get the 4? Yeah, but that's not their problem. That's government tax. You gotta remember, they pay VAT instead of a lot of the other taxes we pay. So you wouldn't pay VAT if you ordered in the US. While if you ordered the Ender 3 in Europe, you would pay VAT when we don't. So, that's irrelevant. VAT doesn't change that. You got to pay the VAT no matter what. We actually pay more in taxes here in the US than they do in Europe. It's insane when you think about it, but we split our taxes up amongst so many different taxes that when you add them all up, we pay more in taxes than your typical European does. But anyway, this week, I found this gorgeous little. I love how small it is, and they have a slightly larger one. So it's this little thin wallet SD card case, and when you open up this super thin lid, it's supposed to hinge. You have either 12 or 16 SD cards. Boy, getting that lined up is tricky. So it's actually a beautiful case. But yeah, F you in this goddamn hinge, because every single one of them has failed. And even mine failed because I squished it, because I was trying to save it for you guys, and I ended up crushing it before clipping it. So that's my fault, not the print's fault. But what happens is this fails, because it's this tiny little end here, and that has to print. You can see there it is, almost complete. There we go. That little end there has got to print with a hole in it. And that's a pain in the ass for most printers to do, because it's that you have that split there where the hole is, and you have this itty bitty little extrusion on the other side of the hole. Well, I fixed it really easily, so I'll be posting a remix of it with a fix. And the fix was, I broke this because I dropped the part over here, and I had all this squeezed into my hand with all this stuff here, and I crushed it, because you're supposed to cut these off. But what I did was let me take that off. I just made it longer. So all I did was extend the arm, so it's not doing a micro extrusion. Now the next correction I'm going to make before I post it is the whole thing's going to be taller. I'm just going to make the lid taller. Deal with it. It'll be 1 millimeter taller, and you won't have such a hellscape trying to print these things. But because you see there's almost no plastic above and below that hole. There we go. There's just not enough plastic. So what it is, I extended it. So now when you assemble this part, you assemble this part like that, and then you just take your nippers and snip off the excess. There you go. Now you have a perfect hinge without all the hassle. So I'm going to be thickening that up a little bit, because that's just it's too skinny. Sorry. Unless you're printing this out of nylon, it's too skinny, and even nylon's going to give you a problem. It's beautiful, but too skinny. So I'm going to make that a little bit thicker. And then I made my own version that I think is far more secure. So this is my version. It's only about 1 millimeter thicker, and it's about 4 millimeters wider. But the difference is, now there's no holes, and now this is actually secure, because these two parts slide together. So I added, you can see I added a profile onto the front of that. There you go. See how that edge has a angle on it now, that edge there? And then this has the receiving edge. You can see it's got, see that angle? And then, of course, this is now 4 layers thick instead of 2 layers thick. So, and these on the side are about 1.5 millimeters thicker each, and this is thicker here. So now this whole thing is stiffer. And because it's stiffer and it's got that chamfered edge, these two parts just slide together like this. There you go. That's it. And now this is not going to come apart in your pocket. It's going to stay put. I'm actually going to make this top even thicker. I'm going to make it 2 more layers thicker, because I want to do my multicolor thing with it. Because I love this style, because it displays the SD cards. Like, you can actually see them, which I like. And then you just close it up, and now you have this slim little case with your SD cards in it. So I'll be posting that remix. But yeah, that is so much better, and it's all flush, even. You just grab this end, and the two parts come apart like that. But it's not going to come apart on its own, especially when it's closed. This is relatively firm. And there you go. So that's my remix of his wallet thing. I fixed his design a little bit, and I'm going to make one more correction to it to beef up that connection a little bit there. You see, that's where it always fails. It always fails there. I mean, sure, could I tune my printer to make it print that correctly? Yes, I could. Am I going to waste the next 2 hours of my life to tune the printer to get that to print, just to have that hinge fail anyway, because it's literally 2 strands of filament holding that hinge together? Screw that. I spent less time and redesigned the whole thing. Great design. I love his design. I just hate the hinge. So I made mine a slide instead of a hinge. And so now it's much better in the wallet and much better in the pocket. This is far less likely to fail or have a problem. I think I want to make it thick enough to have a ridge here. So increase the thickness here, but leave a ridge here so that this box is basically closed instead of having an open end. Because by closing that end a little bit, it'll increase the stiffness that much more. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And then, so it'll just be like a millimeter thicker. So it'll be like 1.5 millimeters thicker than the original, which I'm fine with. I'd rather take a little bit off of this part here and add it to this part here, because this part here has all this structure designed into it, which makes this part really stiff, even though it's thin. This is the part that needs the structure, so that when you slide these together, they fit perfectly. And then I'm going to have my color logos and stuff on the front here. Hey, I was sorry to see Chris leave my Patreon. I'm not going to mention the last name because I don't call people out, but he was a Patreon for 50 months. I mean, it's only $1 a month, but still, 50 months. That's some long-term dedication. I appreciate that. I'm going to do the same thing to this one here. I'm going to make this a multicolor. So I'm going to make a, matter of fact, maybe we'll do that on stream here. I'm going to make a cutout of that logo and then make it a separate STL so that you can print that logo first and then print the top, and that'll give you a multicolor like that. I'm going to have a whole video out on Sunday for how to do this using a regular printer. Now, to do this, your printer needs to have very, very reliable first layer. If you do not have reliable first layer, if you can't dot an I on your first layer and have this work, you're going to have a hard time with this and you might not want to do it. Although, you can design the part to compensate for that. You can design tree bridging into the part to help it make it more reliable. But if you want to print multiple colors like I did here, I'm gonna do the 5-color one. They're still printing right now, so I can't stop them. I printed 16 of them all at once. I did that on my Focus Odin F5. I believe that's what it is, the Focus Odin. That is a damned good printer. Just is very reliable first layer. It sticks every time. It holds its leveling perfectly every time. And the other big thing is that it's a direct drive. And you do not need a direct drive. Well, no, it's all on the first layer. This is all 0.4 millimeters thick. So here, let me show you. You get a kick out of this. This is pretty neat. There we go. Bottom factory? No. Cap body. Ring. Rockets. Multicolor factory. All right, let me show you this. This is pretty slick. So let's switch to monitor. So as you can see, it's a very involved. Actually, I have to fix one. I have one of these that's broken. It was the flame. This one had an incorrect model. Flame 2, Flame 3, Flame 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Ah, there it is. Not that one, that one. Okay. Flame 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, that one's good now. And also Rocket Ship had body selected when it shouldn't. One of them failed. And also, because it's only 2 layers thick, if you have a failure, just tear it off. It's okay. Your last one will just print like this with no color. Who cares? It'll still succeed. So it won't destroy the entire print. Boy, it's having a hard time opening this. There it goes. One of these toward the end. Yep, tool top right here. That's supposed to be rocket ship. There we go. Rocket. Okay, there. My factory file is fixed. So the next time I do this, I won't have so much of a problem. So the other problem was a purge. I need to purge the nozzle, especially when you're printing an itty bitty teeny tiny part. Like one of the parts is just this. So I need that and that. Am I loading an old version of Simplify 3D? Because it didn't. Oh, they fixed it. They fixed it so it doesn't. Yes, exactly. And because I'm telling the print not to cross open space unless it has to, it actually avoids the pre-printed part. If you do it in the right order. Yeah, I'll show you. So this print here was just that. This print here was just that little thing right there. Let me show you what that looks like. This works so well. It's finicky, but it's also non-fatal if something doesn't quite work right. It doesn't, a true multicolor, multi-layer print will implode if something goes wrong. You're screwed. You got to start over. But this one here, this is my Tinkercad file. And this is just a single non-colored piece. So this right here is my Tinkercad file. Now, there's a lot more here than you think. There's like 7 files here. But here's what it looks like. Now, let me turn that over so you can actually see it. Let's see, view, full screen. So that is my Tinkercad file. And this entire print bed that you saw, I got to leave this open like this. That entire print bed you saw, that print right there, that was this little red flame. That's it. That whole layer was that red flame. I just want to say, could I? Should you? Probably not. Can you? Yes, it will work if you have a good first layer. If you don't have a good first layer, you're screwed. So I printed actually this was printed in green. All right, let's change this to what it was actually printed. A neon green. That's probably as close as I'm going to get. Can I? Oh, I can do a custom color. There we go. I didn't realize I could do that. Cool. And this was actually a purple. So this is what it's actually going to look like. Most of them, I think about 14 of them, maybe 12 or 13 of them came out perfect. There's a couple that are messed up, but basically it'll just be missing a color. But the print will still be perfectly fine. I want to do one more separation just because I'm a masochist for pain. I want to separate the little print head here. You notice I had to modify the print head to beef it up so that it would actually resolve in the slicer. Otherwise, it was too small to resolve. But I want to make the print head a different color, and maybe even this little nozzle, like make this white for Bowden tube, make this a black color, and make this well, I guess that's supposed to be orange. Hey, DeWitt! So I actually printed this whole thing in 6 colors. And that works because, well, it works because printers are very precise. And it's practical because of Simplify 3D. The ability to do multiple processes. You can see my process structure here. You can see my infrastructure here that makes this possible. So, well, here's a big thing. A purge. I need a skirt or a purge of some sort, but the problem is this bed is so damned full. where would I put it that it wouldn't interfere? When I'm doing one, I just print a large skirt, and then between each color, I tear the skirt off. But I can't do that with this one. I'm going to screw it up if I do that. I'm going to hit something. I'm going to bump something. I'm going to mess something up if I do that. So I made a 0.88 millimeter wide object that's printed in vase mode, that's over extruded to 120%, and it just prints this line before each print. And I could just tear that line off between each print. So you have to sit now. This is labor intensive. I have to sit there and do each of these colors right in front of the printer. But with the exception of the cat and the logo, they're fast. Like this print here, it looks like they finally fixed that, so I can select the two that I want. Oh, thank God. 5.02 fixed that, where before you'd click print and it would have them all selected. It's a small thing, but it's a big deal. So my first print was the little tiny flames with the purge line. I then tear the purge off. And one more trick that I use is I do not turn off the heat because it's a glass bed. So the SDI bed, the carbon silicon bed. So I just go into the script for that print there, and output scripts, ending script. I just took out all of the G code. I home the X-axis, and I disable the steppers. That's it. This allows me to push the head all the way off the edge so I can purge the next color without it purging onto the print bed, because it actually stops on the print bed at X0. X0 is obviously on the print bed, but the print head can actually move a little bit further. So you push it a little bit further so you can purge the next color. So I remove that. This way the heat bed stays on and the nozzle stays hot. Now, this would be actually pretty difficult to do on a Creality printer. It'd be a pain in the ass, actually. You could do it, but it'd be a pain. You need you want a printer with an absolutely balls to the wall, reliable first layer. If your printer is not if it's not a WAP printer, you're screwed. WAP, walk away printer. If your printer is not a walk away printer, I'm doing this on the Fucus Odin F5. If your printer is not a walk away printer, you're gonna have a hard time with this. That printer is absolutely reliable walk away. I can just it's actually even more walk away reliable than my FL Sun Q5. Although I think I just have to do my redo my bed mesh leveling on that one. If you get near the edges, sometimes it's not as accurate. But this one, I did this full platen and it's printing fine. Although I don't remember if I left the script in. Oh, I didn't. I gotta fix that. Okay. I forgot to add in the turn off the heaters for this part here. So what I do is every print is a sequential print because I start by printing the purge first. I have to make sure it prints that first, and then I print whatever I want. So after I did the flame, I did the rocket ship. So flame and rocket. Print. And there you go. Now it prints the flame, and it prints the itty bitty little rocket ship. And then the heat bed stays on. And these each get saved as a separate G-code file. I do it as 2 layers just in case. Just to, especially for colors that are translucent. And then the next one I do is the ring. And I just save these each as a G-code file. So on my SD card file, there's G-code files. And one says flame, rocket, ring, cat, and logo. And so I print the ring. And these are all fast. This is a 9-minute print. And remember, there's no heat up time because you're not heating anything up. You're leaving the printer hot. So the second thing you're going to want is, you don't have to have this, but it makes life so much easier. You want a direct drive printer. You also want a printer that either has a lever to allow you to shove filament in, or you want a good UI, and the Fucus has a good UI where I can change flow rate. Like, for example, I had some of the cats fail because I was going too fast. And so what I did was I just tore the cats off. And then when it came around to do the second layer, I cranked the temperature up to 230 and the flow rate up to 250%. This way it would print that cat layer as a single 0.4 millimeter thick layer, and it worked. I was able to save most of them, and it freaking worked. You could do these manual tricks to get really advanced printing without having a super expensive advanced printer. And here's the big deal. No wasted filament. Almost none. This here is enough to print almost any feature on this entire thing, except for the actual body of the part itself. That amount of filament will print anything. So all those sample rolls you get, you can do hundreds of these multicolor prints, because you're only wasting about that much filament to do a purge. Okay? So what you do is you advance the filament until the filament comes out. You know, that primes your nozzle, and then you hit reverse. Bang, 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 reverse. Pull that filament out. This is where direct drive comes in handy. You don't have to feed this all through that Bowden tube and all the way back out through that Bowden tube. And also, here's the big deal. This is actually a really big deal for not wasting filament. And you say wasting filament, when you're using exotic colors, you don't want to waste the filament. You don't want to waste this much filament to print that much filament because you did the little ring on your printer. Look how much filament I'm using. Grand total filament usage, 0.9 of a gram, 0.89 grams, and that's including the purge line. And this overestimates, by the way. It's probably more like 0.6 grams. So literally that much filament. That's all you're going to use. Now, one of the problems is, have you ever taken filament out of your printer? Have you ever felt it? Right there. So, and keep in mind, I've already used a bunch of this. All right. So all that filament there. Now this filament is unusually good. This is Color Me 3D, golden something, translucent gold. This filament's unusually pliant. But how? A show of hands here of how many people have come the next day to a piece of filament that was in their Bowden printer, and everything that was in the Bowden tube starts breaking. Crack, 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 crack. That's because you're crushing the filament. The gear in the feeder unit, you can feel the imprint that it puts on the filament. Well, that's cracking the surface of this filament. That's like putting little cuts in your skin. Well, now water can get in. And what happens when water gets into PLA? It cracks. It becomes brittle. Well, with a direct drive, only that much of the filament is inside past the gear unit. So you're not ruining all this filament. This filament here is enough for me to do, a couple of dozen multicolor prints. So I save all these little pieces now for my multicolor prints. Like for example, if I wanted to make the cat gold, this would be enough to do like 32 of the cats. So I could do this cat print 16 coins twice using this gold. Just this little bit. Okay? Because the direct drive, see how that end cracked? It just snapped off. It snapped off, and it's going to keep snapping. It's going to keep snapping. There you go. Now I'm past the point where the gear teeth were chewing on it. All right, that's what happens with a Bowden setup. Now, when you're doing big prints, it's no big deal. But when you're doing weird stuff like this, it really helps to have a direct drive printer. And the Focus Odin is a really good one for this. The touchscreen UI is responsive, and it has all the options you need. You can control G-code speed, you can control your feed rate, you can control your extrusion rate, you can control... Now, the only problem with controlling feed rate is that it also slows down the retractions and resets, and that causes stringing. So you do want to set your speeds correctly. You're better off setting your speeds in the slicer too slow and then speeding it up in the printer. So if in doubt, set your print speed too slow. If you think 50 millimeters is right, set it for 30. All right, then all you have to do is increase your speed to 150%, and now you're at 45 millimeters per second. So set your speed slower than you think you'll need so that you can speed it up. But yes, you can slow it down, but you're also slowing down those retractions, and that's going to cause stringing. When you're normally you go, you lower the speed down to 10%, your print speed's a nice slow speed, but here, instead of a for your retraction, here's your retraction. because that's also a 10%. And that's going to string like crazy. And what happens is that string starts grabbing onto other parts that are already printed. So slice slow, increase speed in the printer if you need to. But yeah, so all I do is I take a little piece of filament like this. Like I took less than this for red. I found a piece of red filament that the cat had on the floor. I grabbed that piece of red filament off the floor and said, "Okay, Fucus, draw in the filament," and shoved it in there. And I purged like 10 or 20 millimeters until it all came out red and tore off the excess. And then the printer's already hot, the nozzle's hot, the bed's hot. I clicked print flame, and it went around and beep, 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 printed the flame. It homed back to 0. It didn't move the Y, just homed the X. And it sat there with the heaters on because I told it not to turn the heaters off. And I did an advance to make sure it's when you change filament, you can't pull the filament out. Well, you can, but you should not pull the filament out. You have to extrude first, then pull, because what happens is all that filament is liquid inside the hot end, and when you pull, you end up with this 5-foot long piece of string coming out of the hot end. And not only is that nasty, and not only is that going to bleed into your other colors, but that's also going to potentially jam your printer completely. Like, you won't be able to put new filament in. Have fun taking apart your hot end to get that string out. So what you do is you advance first, and I actually hit advance a couple times until I hear the gear strip, because then I know the filament in the hot end is cold, and then immediately reverse. And this way, almost all the filament comes out of the hot end. You pull the old filament out, you take the next color like this, you stick it in, you advance it 2 or 3 times until it all comes out the new color. You'll see it'll actually come out the old color first, and then they'll start changing color, and then you'll see the new color come out. And you end up wasting almost nothing. Like, you waste less plastic. You waste less plastic than this. Your purge is about that much plastic. When you do a manual direct drive purge like this, do it yourself, your purge is like that. You're wasting like that much filament. It's really not that bad. Although I haven't tried to go from black to something else. I've been doing all lighter colors. So black might need that much. Who cares? But the point is, all of those little scraps of filament you now keep. Anything longer than 6 or 7 inches is now usable for doing this kind of a color change tactic. That's how I did this one. This one was a single color change. Oh, there we go. So that was a single color change. So what I did is all that purple stuff got printed first. So I just printed the purple stuff, and then the printer stayed hot, so the part didn't release. And then I simply told it to print the coin now, print the box, the SD card box. I said, okay, now print the SD card box. Now the SD card box has a void in it that is the shape of all of that. And because there's a setting here, here we go, modify travel movements to avoid open spaces. I set it to 999. So now when it has to go from here to here, instead of going extrude, print, retract, zit, over to here, now it's going to go, extrude, print, retract, and then over here. So it looks like it's wasting a lot of time and energy moving around all of this stuff, but the result is you get no string. You get no string because the nozzle never crosses open space unless it has to. Unless it's jumping from one island to another, it'll stay within the confines of the model. Now, a consequence of that is, when you're doing multicolor, it means the printer avoids the parts that were already printed, because the parts that are already printed are open space. Let me show you. So when I print the cap, that's the last thing to be printed is the cap. This takes a while because it's big. It's actually stuttering my video a little bit. Here it comes. Yeah, this is like a 50 megabyte G-code file, by the way. So now, if you look on the underside, wait, the logo's there. Yeah, it's all empty space. So let me turn that this way and bring it down to the first layer. So there's my first layer. So as you can see, everywhere that I've printed something, with a couple exceptions, there's a little island here in the middle of the rocket. That's the window on the rocket. And there's a little island here in the middle of the flame to give the flame its, U shape. But otherwise, it basically is going to avoid most of the stuff that's already printed. This big open space here, that's the ring. This is the rocket ship. This is the flame. This is the cat. This is the words. So it's going to avoid all that. So you're far less likely to, it's not zero, but you're less likely to crash into something you've already printed. On top of that, you're only printing 2 layers. If your 220 degrees Celsius nozzle crashes into a 0.2 millimeter thick layer, it's just gonna melt right through it. It's not gonna damage anything. It's usually not gonna tear anything off. It'll be fine because you're only printing 2 layers. And then so I print the flame first, then I print the rocket, then I print the ring, then I print the cat, then I print the logo, and then I print the body. And when it's all done, you get that. And it actually works. This was the 1-color test just to make sure I got the code right. And now I've got 16 of them printing. They'll probably be done in about an hour. I got 16 of them printing that are this 6 colors. I guess this should technically be gray, but there's no way to do a marble. Yeah, there's no way to do marble on here. So technically it's closer to that, except this is a marble filament, not a gray. A marble is just really nice. It's just a really good. I love marble PLA. It hides layer lines. It looks great. It's neutral. It shows off everything else without being, plasticky white. Marble is like a staple filament that you should always have. That's Eryone marble. Prints just as good as everybody else. But yeah, so that will be done. And like I said, I'm thinking about being a masochist and printing the print head in a different color, just because I can. The flame worked. I was actually blown away that the flame worked. I didn't think it was going to work. Actually, Simplify 3D wouldn't slice it. It was too small, so I had to use 0.2 millimeters of horizontal expansion to get it to print the flame and to get it to print the entire rocket ship. The rest printed fine. I just kept thickening it up in here. And I used my SVG trick. So I took my banner logo. Where is it at? It's probably on the desktop. There it is. So I just took my banner logo here, and I cut out the text part of this. I can't find my original PSDs. They're here somewhere. I cut out the text of this, and as you might imagine, things like that are too small to print at this scale. So I just beefed them up. I just kept thinking them up in Tinkercad until the slicer would slice them and actually print those details. Here's my SVG for the rocket ship clip art that I found. What else have I got in here? That's the EXE. Why is that? Oh, why is this in here? Oh, this is desktop. Yeah. So there's my SVG for the thing. What else do I have in here? So there's the rocket ship. There's the logo. Yes. So you use the Convertio. You just go on Google, type in JPG to SVG or PNG to SVG, and it'll come right up to the page you need on Convertio. You make sure it's less. Make sure no dimension exceeds 1,000 pixels. Tinkercad will not accept an SVG that's greater than 1,000 pixels in any dimension. And trust me, that's huge. You probably want it 300. You probably want it 200 pixels wide. But I like starting with high resolution and then shrinking. And Convertio. Do it, man. And yeah, this process, I can repeat this with anything else that I want. Like to do a maker coin to be pretty easy. All I have to do is tell it to print this and then just stop at a certain layer and then print another STL on top of it. And so here's the ring, here's the rocket ship, here's the 3D print logo, here's the cat, here's the rocket flame. These are all the individual STL files that go into making up that multi-part STL file. Here's all your individual G codes and factory files. Hello, Yamaha. Here's the ring, here's the logo, the rocket, the flame, the cat body, the cat, and then this is the bottoms, the other half of the coin thing. Now I have changed this here. I realized I don't need that much threads, and it's a pain in the butt to have to thread it so much. So as you can see here, I got rid of half the threads. It's just a smooth wall inside. So they'll slide over each other and then thread. Yep, I saw the new MK4. It looks pretty nice. I wish it had a bigger print volume, but yeah, it looks pretty nice. I did the same thing. If you guys remember, a couple years ago, I did the same thing to make the big Jurassic Park logo in multicolor. I didn't use an IDEX. I didn't use anything weird like that. I just used a regular 3D printer with multiple G-code files. Now, this will not work if, like, for example, you can't do this on a Prusa. At least I don't think you can. Can you disable? Can the Prusa home in a corner? You see, your printer has to be able to home in a corner. If your printer does the multi-point touch, it's going to fuck up your layers. And your level's going to fuck up. Because when it homes on top of a piece of a print, it's not going to be able to go down all the way. So this really works best on a printer that has limit switches that homes in the corner. You know, these fancier auto bed level printers, it might not work as well. So I literally just printed. I got pictures. Actually, I do have pictures now that I think about it. Let me upload them. Hang on. Why isn't this charging? This got pulled out. Oh, it got pulled out. Use that one. Let me upload these real quick. You guys get a sneak peek. You guys get a sneak preview of what I did. Hang on. Let me switch this because I might have sensitive files on there. Okay, now I can switch back. Well, yeah, you're replacing a lot. Where is everything? Oh, it's just 3? No, there's one missing. I hate when it does that. It really annoys the hell out of me when it does that. It's like, why would you not do what I told you to do? It is downloading. Where the hell is it putting it? There it is. Okay, so here we go. So here you can see it printed the flames by themselves on the right-hand side here. I'm not a lefty. I'm a righty. What makes you think I'm a lefty? One of the cameras is probably reversed. Left hand, right hand. I'm kind of ambidextrous to a point. Like it was interesting in baseball. I had to learn how to bat left. No, mouse is in the right hand. I had to learn to bat left because I can't bat right because I'm blind. Okay, I was born blind, like no vision, and I went through 17 operations as under a year old, where they pulled my eyeballs out of my sockets in a hospital. Of course, I remember none of this. They were able to fix this eye, but they couldn't fix this eye. On this eye, the USB cable didn't finish forming. Yeah, it's the same price as the MK3. That's amazing that they were able to keep the price. Remember, the 1099 is fully assembled. Yeah, there's a kit version, $800. Same as the old one. So they were able to fix this eye, but they couldn't fix this eye. Basically, the USB cable didn't finish growing. So the eyeball's fine, the brain's fine, the optic nerve didn't finish growing. It's not worth it. $549 is not worth it. Unless you really can't have more than one printer, you're better off just buying the kit and then you have both. So I can only see out of the right eye. I can't see out of the left eye. So as you can imagine, batting right-handed is really hard, because when you bat right-handed, you have to turn left. And because I can't see out of my left eye, I gotta really turn my head a lot in order to be able to see everything out in the field. While if I bat left, I only have to turn my head normally, because my right eye works fine. So I had to learn to bat left because it was easier. So here you can see it printed the flames, and now it's starting to print the rocket ships. And now it's printing the ring. You see it's already finished the rocket ships, and now it's printing the rings. And now it's printing the cats. And now it's printing the letters. I over extruded a little too much. I'm surprised none of it got knocked off, but it actually came out okay. I forgot to turn down the over extrusion from the fixing the cat. So you print the flames, then you print the rockets, then you print the rings, then you print the cats, then you print the logo, and then you print the body all around it. And as you can see, it worked well. I can't wait to see the finished ones. I'm super excited to see them. And all it takes, Dad. What makes it easy is Simplify 3D. All of this ability to do multiple processes makes it so much easier. Oh my God, it's so much easier. Less than an hour. It was at 92% when I started. So it should be done by about 3 o'clock, which I have to get off by. I have an appointment on the phone by 3 o'clock. So, and then of course in the Tinkercad file, I also have my little purge file. You'll get to see it Sunday. You have to wait till Sunday. You can see the one color one. This is the one color one that I did. It's the same thing, but without the rocket ship, and just using one color change. And it worked great. I'm thinking about making custom ones where on the back I put a person's name. So there's my little purge line. I just made a 150 millimeter line. That's what, 1 millimeter thick or something like that. Yeah, 0.8 millimeters thick. I tell it to print it in vase mode, and I tell it to extrude it at 120% or something like that, just to get all the plastic, out. I should probably make this 2 layers thick. But I don't like doing Z-hop. I don't like going up, down, up, down. That's risky, where if it doesn't reset at the right point, then your layer screwed. But yeah, and here's the modified case that I made. So I took the guts of the thin case and I merged it into I took the guts of this and merged it into the guts of this, and then I got rid of as much of this as I could, and I ended up with that. So not as thin as this, but not as big and bulky as this. And this is just easier to handle. It's it's easier to manipulate for my big chunky fingers. This is a whole lot easier for me to putz around with. And you end up with that. You end up with, let me switch over here. You end up with this nice little display of your SD cards. All right, by the way, let's talk about SD cards, because I have a way for you guys to get SD cards really, really cheap. I mean, really cheap. So, what you need, let me see what that is. It's probably that stupid group message people added me to. I hate that. I don't like group messages. They're annoying. I guess people like it, so I should get used to it, but it's annoying. So here's how you get this stuff really cheap. Okay. Here we go. So you have to use the phone. You cannot use the PC. This does not show up on the PC. But there's a website called AliExpress, and of course they have an app. And as you can see, this pops up every time I log in. This $1.99 section here. So if I click on this $1.99 section, everything is 12 days delivery, $1.99 free shipping. These lights are the cat's meow. Okay, you can only order one, but that's okay. I'll tell you how to get more than one. I already have 6. Well, not 6, 4. I have 4 of these. These lights are these, and these things are amazing. First, it's got a hook, so you can hook it to your backpack or whatever. It's got a magnet. It's got a stand. Okay, I'd stick it right to the side of the printer here. These are my printer lights. It's USB-C recharged, which is what I prefer. If this was micro USB, I would not have gotten it. I'm no more micro USB unless it's something I have to have. I want USB-C on everything. But you have super bright light, medium bright light, and stupid flash mode. Okay, so usually I put it on medium bright, the low bright mode. And what I do is I set it right on top of my printer, like that. There we go. I set it right on top of the printer, and it allows me to see that first layer. So I can make sure the nozzle's the right height and that first layer is going down right. And then when I'm done, I turn it off. And of course, if it's on for a few seconds, when you hit the button again, it just turns right off. So nice little light. I also use this when I have to go outside and hunt for something. This is all the crap I've been printing this week. I've been going crazy printing stuff. Tweaking, printing and designing. That's why I call it printing and design frenzy. I've just been on this binge to improve everything I find. So I then take this, and it's a magnet, snick, right on the side of the printer. So in every room that has printers, one of them has one of these on the side of it, so that I can use that for doing whatever I got to do with the printers. Battery doesn't last very long, but it doesn't have to. You just plug it into a USB-C, and it's charged up in 20 minutes. Okay, so more goodies. You can also get these here. These are wonderful. These, I hit pause again. Damn you. It's a resistive touchscreen, so every now and then my phone hits the pause button on the printer. They need to add a confirmation to that, like pop up, and especially when you resume, it purges a whole crap load of filament, and you've got to grab it and tear it off. Now, is that free shipping? Come on, stop purging. There we go. So these are wonderful. I'm replacing all my USB cables. There's 3 of these available, so I get 3 every time. This is a USB-C to C cable with a braided cable. So you can see this is it right here. It's a nice braided thick cable. It's got a digital display on the end of the plug. So it actually tells you, so you can confirm that your phone is charging, or whatever gadget you plug in. You see it's got a little display there. See, I'm consuming 11 watts, 12 watts. So this phone is charging at 12 watts. Okay? Wonderful USB cables. I order one every time I go on the app. Every other day I order one. Well, I don't have any more money now. I had to stop ordering them. But I spent like $8 and I got like 4 of these. And I'm going to replace all of my cables, because these are nice high quality cables with a display for $2. That's dollar store pricing, buddy. Now, This, avoid. Do not order these. You're going to order SD cards, but you're not going to order these because you have no way of knowing if they're real. And there's a pretty good chance they're not real. They don't usually fake the 32 gigabyte ones anymore because you could buy them on Amazon for $5, but I'm not willing to risk it. So I don't order any of the branded ones like that. However, here's another one. Here's another C2C cable. You can only order one of each item, but if multiple people list the same thing, you can order it. And I'll tell you how to get more than one of an item. Let's see, I got clock movement, so I can make some custom clocks to sell. Here we go. What you're looking for is micro SD cards like this. These are custom logo branded SD cards. They're not fake. That's actually a 64 gig card. And it's a legit 64 gig card because someone paid money to custom brand this card. And they don't use fake cards when they do that. They use real cards. So you look through the $1.99 list or the $2.31 list, and you look for these custom picture cards. You know, the 32 and the 64 gig ones. If you see lightly customized ones, they're probably fake. But these fully customized, color printed cards, they're all legit. Schmores on or Schmooze on YouTube, he got a whole bunch of them and tested them as well. They're all legit. So that's one I can order. Here's another cable. This is the other one I order. This is the A to C cable with the meter built in. Now be careful. There are some here that are no good because they are C to iPhone. They're C to Lightning. You'll know what it is because it's not 100 watts. And by the way, these are all 100-watt cables. Look at this. These are those wonderful little USB-C rechargeable flashlights. $2. I was paying like $14 for these on Amazon. Well, I didn't pay for them. I got them on Vine, but they were like $14 to $20. They're $2 from AliExpress. And it's a surprisingly bright little tiny flashlight. It really is tiny too. It's like smaller than my pinky. Let's see what else they got. Like this one here, I would avoid because it's China. That's why I would avoid this. I mean, this might be real. It's only 64 gigs, but I'm not taking a chance. I don't want to wait 12 days and waste $3 and get a fake card. It's like, no thanks. So, you know, avoid these, you know, unbranded cards that don't have any, see it says Extreme Pro. Yeah, I'd avoid that. But if it's customized, it's probably safe. So let's see, like this one here I wouldn't trust. It's probably a Kingston knockoff. I mean, maybe it's real, but I'm not taking a chance. I'm just not going to order it. If any of you guys do, let me know if they're real. Maybe we can nail down which ones are real and which ones aren't. See, SanDisk Ultra? Yeah, I'm not buying that. I'm not taking a chance that that's real. Although it's only 8 gigabytes. What's the chance of them faking an 8 gigabyte card? That's probably legit. That's probably a legit card. I should probably order one just to have it in my list. Yeah, it's only $2. 8 gigabytes, there's a pretty decent chance that's real. They don't usually bother faking the tiny cards. They have other USB-C cables, decent cables, but I've just been restricting myself to the ones with the displays because they're just really freaking nice. Here's another one. I already got that one. So again, that's a legit 32 gigabyte card for $2. Right angle plugs, extensions. Here's another one. That one's legit. I'm trying to get this one. I just don't want to pay $3 for it. I know it's legit because he got this one too. If it's custom, what you're looking for is the cards with the full printed custom logo. Those are all legit. Because that a full custom printed card like that is a card someone paid to have made. And so they use legit cards when they do that. That's how you know. That's how you can define the real. Does it guarantee you're going to get a real one and not a fake one? No. But so far, we've not gotten a fake one. As long as it's like that one with that Santa hat apple one is legit. The soccer one is legit. The Christmas one is legit. The winter scene is legit. The, where was the first one? The Halloween one. That Halloween one there. That one's legit. And the Santa Claus on the airplane. I don't know. No, I think this is like think of this like a Black Friday doorbuster deal. these vendors choose to put their products up available for this. I mean, think about it. They sell 32 gigabyte cards on Amazon for $5. And that's with Amazon's 30% FBA markup. So that's $3. So they're only selling it for $1 less than what they sell to them for on Amazon. So the cards are just getting that cheap now. I also ordered one of these flashlights just to see if it's legit. One of these big honking flashlights. I ordered one just to see if it's legit. Oh, I also got calipers. So you get these vernier calipers, $1.99. Now there is one catch, no battery. So you need to have your own batteries. You can get them at the dollar store, but that's annoying that they didn't include the batteries. That's kind of a, don't be a booger. You can get nippers for $1.99. Although if you have 3D printers, you already have a whole bunch of these. But yeah, the calipers for $2. I got a couple of those. Just because it's nice to have calipers lying around. I also got some thumb drives. Oh, I found this deal. Now, you can't search this. There's no way to search. You just have to scroll and look for good stuff to buy. Let's see what else they got on here. I grabbed a couple of these higher power 12-volt adapters. Oh, if you want to get, you can get up to 10 items per order. This is AliExpress, but you have to use the app. If you go to the website, there's no $1.99 option. There's no $1.99 option on the website. So this is an app-only thing. It's something they're doing, I guess, to promote usage of the app. Oh, I just got 100 hair ties for $2.53. Yes, it's safe. You're using PayPal, so you're shielded. They don't get your actual credit card number, and yeah, they're safe. AliExpress is a legitimate site. AliExpress is actually a relatively safe way to order stuff from China because they're like Amazon. Oh, I use PayPal with them. I just paid for an order yesterday with PayPal. But even direct credit card number, I wouldn't have a problem giving it to them. Because number one, if you use a credit card number, you have 100% fraud protection, at least in the US. I don't know about Canadian law. But the biggest problem with ordering Chinese stuff is when you get fake stuff. And AliExpress is like the Amazon for cheap stuff from China. And they have expensive stuff, by the way, too. I saw a sticker printer. I can make my own stickers. And then I realized it was $5,600. It was like a commercial grade, commercial level sticker printer. Use the app, not the website, and then you get the $1.99 deals. Now, they only let you order one of an item. You can't order two. Like, you can't pick that memory card and order 5. You can only order one. You can order more than one, but you can pay the regular price, which is like $4 or $5 or something like that, or more. But here's how you get more than one of the same item. If the item, it's kind of like Vine, where the sellers would say, okay, Amazon, I'd like you to put 6 of these on Vine. And so 6 Vine users could get that item. Once 6 Vine users got the item, that's it, it's gone. Same thing here. They put up a certain number of items and say, okay, we will let you sell 20 of these at $1.99 or 100 of these at $1.99. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Yeah, going through that's a hassle. You're not going to lose anything, but it's a pain in the ass. But no, just use PayPal. Well, these are all guaranteed 12-day delivery, too. So you're going to have anything you order from this $1.99 list in 2 weeks. So I think this is like a promotional thing they're doing where they're asking sellers to offer things at a discounted price and they're guaranteeing shipping so that you can get a good experience ordering from AliExpress. I think that's what they're doing. It's like a doorbuster kind of deal. So I have no idea how long this is going to last. They might do this forever. They might do this for the next 2 days and then never do it again. But they've been doing it for the last few weeks. I've gotten multiple orders in. I wish I could do an affiliate link, but there's no way to do an affiliate link for this. So if you get a good deal, send me a PayPal. But now what if I want more than one memory card? Or more than one of these lights? Or more than one of these USB cables? Yeah, I've gotten like 4 of these lights. I've gotten like 6 or 7 of those cables. You wait 24 to 48 hours, and it lets you order it again. If it's still in the $1.99 list, you can order it again. Like if I try to add, let's try to add something that I like. If I try to add this, it probably won't let me. Oh, it let me. So I've waited long enough, so I was able to add the light again. Or it's a different seller. What about the cable? Yes. Oh, here's a $1.99 32 gigabyte SD card. See here? It says, oops, item already added. So it's telling me I already ordered that. Here's another one of those cables. Can I order that? Yes, I can. Here's the white. Oh, here's a white dragon card. So I got one of those. So let's add that. And it let me. And the Halloween card. And it let me. And can I get another one of those? Yes. So it's been long enough that I was able to add those again. So yeah, I'll be getting more of those cards. But every now and then you find really good deals. Like yesterday, I didn't even hesitate. Son of a bitch. I bought 10 USB thumb drives for $2. That's right. 20 cents a piece. I bought 10 USB thumb drives for $2. 20 cents a piece. One catch. They're only 64 megabytes. But you know something? Even my stupidly complicated, super huge 16 multicolor maker coin G-code file is only 48 megabytes. And that's huge as far as G-code goes. 64 megabytes might as well be unlimited space when it comes to... yeah, it's a little small. You might be able to change that somewhere. I don't know. Or use a tablet. I got 10 64 megabyte USB drives for $2. What the hell are you going to use a 64 megabyte USB drive for, Chris? 3D printers! 64 megabytes is a ton of space for a 3D printer. So now I got USB drives for those 3D printers for 20 cents each. Yes, please. I'll take as many of those as I can get. Because I'm burning up all my SD cards. I'm reaching the point where all my SD cards are starting to die. You know, all those cheap crap 1 gig, 4 gig cards that come with the printers. Yeah, they're starting to burn. They last about 2 years. Or probably about 30 insertions in the computer before it fries them. But hey, they work for a while. And so I got all those little cool, colorful cards. And not only that, they're cool. You know, they're fun. So here's all the little cards that I got. So there's Santa on an airplane. That Samsung card's a legit Samsung card. That's from one of my cameras. Then the soccer ball one. Then the Christmas one. The Bart Simpson one. The Halloween one. And the orange dragon. The orange dragon is actually really cool. Because if you zoom in close on it, those are his dinner. Those are people the dragon is eating. Let me show you a blow up. It's so freaking cool. I love that. That's one thing I love about the Chinese is some things about the Chinese, there's no filter. Desktop. I think it's this folder here. There it is. So here's the SD cards I got so far. So you can see that is actually the people the dragon's eating. I love it. I love it. Oh, that's interesting. Canada. Now, originally they had a limit of 3. But Canada says you can now, or US says now you can order more than 3, and I'm allowed to order up to 10. But that's okay. Just order the 3. It's free shipping. Order the 3, and then when the order's done, go make another order for 3. You just can't pick the same thing. Now, tomorrow, the next day, you'll be able to pick the same thing if it's still available. There is no section. You can't search. You can't categorize. You just click on the $1.99 things, And everything is all together in one big list under the $1.99 thing. So I can't search and say memory cards. There's no way to do that. You just have to scroll through and look for things that are interesting. So like there's one of the memory cards. Okay, here's the soccer memory card. I can order one of those. Yes. Yeah, it's now be careful. Read the description carefully on some of these things, because some of these things are like for example, I got pissed. Like, I got to order some of these, but I've been wanting more things more. These C to 3.0 are nice for my Western Digital hard drives. List $3 for that 5-volt USB soldering iron. That's like $12 on Amazon. Here it's $2.99. They sprinkle in a couple $2.99 things here and there. I want this memory card, but it's $3. I'm going to add it to the list, but I'm not going to get it yet. You can only add 20 items to the cart. I've maxed out the cart. Here's a 3-pack of Type-C 100-watt cables for $1.99. But again, I've been ordering the ones with the displays on it because I can get 3 every other day. Here's a metal flash drive. It's probably legit. This is nice. This is an A to C cable. I got the C to C one. This is an A to C cable that's really short. It's only a couple of inches long. But the nice thing is that's great for portable battery packs and you have to charge up something. Hey, Darren. That's wonderful for that. Oh, look at this. Waterproof stickers. You know, $2 you can get your kid a whole pack of 2,000 stickers or something like that. I ordered this reaming kit. It's a machine screw threading tools, but it didn't come with the handle. And it makes no indication that you don't get the handle. So all I got's the bits. I mean, still worth $1.99, but I wanted the damn handle. It's annoying. If you want to play with that nano tape, there's $2 for a little sample of it. Hey, Mike. Doing pretty good. Like, here's one of the ones you got to be careful with. You're thinking, ooh, another C cable with a display, right? But notice it's only 36 watts. That's because that's a lightning connector. So this is for iPhone. So if you don't have an iPhone, you don't want this. Here's some plug-ins, crimp plug-ins. Some NFC tags. If you want some programmable NFC tags for, putting NFC tags on crap around your house, there you go. A hole punch. I should probably grab one of those eventually. Here's the orange dragon. I like that one just because it's eating people, and I just like the idea of it eating people. I know I'm weird. Let's get rid of the cat paw. Let's get rid of these thumb drives. I don't need them. Because I want more of those memory cards. Oh no, it left the category, so I gotta start over again. That's annoying. But yeah, these are the cables you want because they're 100 watt, they're nylon braided, and they have a display that actually tells you how much power your device is drawing. Really, really nice cables. I want all my cables to be this now. And for $2, they will be. Go look up what those cost on Amazon. Yeah, let me show you. What do they cost on Amazon? USB-C cable display. So these cables are $10 on Amazon. Okay, although you can get 30% off. So you're looking at $7? So $7 to $10 for the cheap ones on Amazon. Most of them are actually this price here. Well, here's one for $7.64, and here's one for $16. It all depends on how long it is. So you're looking at, basically $8 for this cable on Amazon. Or $2 here. It's the same goddamn cable. Look, it's the same. Look, literally. Look at that picture. Oh, hang on. Is there a better one? They might be using the same picture. They're not. Okay. So they're almost the same picture. Oh my God, it's the same name. Look, it's the exact same cable. Why did you do that? I told you to click this one. See, look. Taki. Taki. It's the same cable. But instead of $8.99, you pay $1.99. Yes, I'll take that all day long, please. So there's the Halloween memory card. That one's legit. This Lexar one, it might be legit, but even though, okay, now here's the good thing about AliExpress. AliExpress is like Amazon, meaning AliExpress is a middleman between you and these Chinese sellers. If one of these sellers scam you, AliExpress will give you your money back, and then they will go after the scammer. Okay, so AliExpress will protect you when you buy stuff like this, but it's just a hassle. And it takes 12 days for me to find out. It's like, screw that. I'm just going to stick with what's legit. These flashlights are great. These are wonderful. They're USB-C, and they have multiple brightnesses. They have little side lights. These are incredible little flashlights to keep on your keychain, keep in your car. You just got to remember to plug them in once a month to charge them up. Clock movements. I'm surprised that clock movements aren't cheaper. It'd actually be cheaper to go to yard sales and buy old clocks and take them out of it. But you can get them for $1.99. USB-C PD car chargers, $2. Like, again, see this card here? Is it legit? Maybe. I'm not taking a chance. It's not that I'm worried about losing the money. It's the hassle. Yeah, I got one of these just because. It's got 5 3-amp ports and a QC 3.0 port. It can handle 15 amps. I'm like, yeah, I'll try that. More flashlights. Another memory card I don't trust. USB hub with switches. Well, it's a different language. USB hair clippers. These actually work surprisingly well. Are these USB-C? Some of them are micro. It looks like USB-C. Double check, but it looks like it is USB-C. I actually use one of these, twice a week to shave, and these actually work really well. Just get some of the razor oil and keep the blades oiled. These little smartwatches. I mean, they're kind of junky. I mean, the one I have is a nice one. It's a $100 one. It's got an OLED screen. It's really nice. But I got it for free. But you can get these basic dumb smartwatches, which is like kind of like what I have, but not with an OLED screen. The reason I like mine so much is the OLED screen, and I like the fact that I only have to charge it once a month. Literally, once every 4 or 5 weeks, I have to charge that thing up. This has been going all month. I charged this on March 1st. I am at 37% capacity, and we're 2 days away from April. So this has been going for 29 days on 60% of a charge. That's why I like this one so much. These, you'll probably have to charge once a week. They'll probably last anywhere between 4 and 8 days. But still, for $2 freaking, you get heart rate, blood ox, step meter, weather and stuff like that. It connects to your phone. For $2, for your kid, if he wants a basic smartwatch, a dumb smartwatch, that's great. I was actually thinking about it. I was thinking about ordering these smartwatches because they sell for $20-$30 on Amazon. I was thinking about ordering these and selling them locally to make a little extra cash. Maybe if I could sell 1 or 2 a month, that'll put gas in the car. I've got to somehow figure out a way to save up $1,000 before next November, because I have to somehow, I need 300 gallons of fuel for next winter for heat. So I got to figure that out. But anyway, here's a round smartwatch for $2. Here's the Dragon card. I think I ordered one, so it won't let me. Yeah, see, it won't let me because I already ordered it. Here's a right angle plug. Oh, is that a... Oh! A USB endoscope for $2. Holy crap, look at that! I'm going to add that to my list. That might actually sell around here. 5.5 millimeters, 1.5 meter long. Yes, please. Kingston memory card, $1.99. Is it legit? I don't know. I'm not risking it. That's the kind of card they'll fake. So I wouldn't buy that. Here's the Christmas one. Right angle plug, electric mug mat warmer thingy. Those actually do work if you have the right cup. You have to have the right kind of cup. Again, I wouldn't trust those cards. What you're looking for is the cards with pictures on them. I already got that one. So you're looking for cards with pictures. These Bliss Kim and other cards that have the full color picture, these are custom made. You can actually get your own custom made SD cards if you want. I'm actually thinking about getting custom USB drives for my rockets to sell. Again, SanDisk Ultra, I'm going to assume that's fake. Another one of those flashlights, but too much money because you can get them for $2. USB soldering iron, $3. Those are like $12 on Amazon or $8 on Amazon. I don't see any reason why they'd fake it, so I tried to order. I ordered one. We'll see. A 32 gigabyte SD card. I've got tons of SD cards though. I've like here's an entire stack of 2 gigabyte SD cards. They're PNY 2 gigabyte cards, so I don't really need SD cards. Here's stickers. NFC tags, $2. Stickers for your kids, a couple thousand stickers for your kids. Here's a whole thing of hair ties. Milling and cutting bits. I wouldn't do any high grade work with that, but for simple work. I actually had one of these before. They actually do work. This is a USB drive that's a voice recorder. And it actually works. I have one. I used to record events with that. It was pretty neat, actually. Here's a tactical pen for $2. There's a punch for $2. Here's a Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, dual mode, smart multipass switch thing. You connect it to an app. Oh, it's Toyo compatible. That means it works with Smart Life. Yes, please. I only buy Smart Life or Toyo because I don't want to have 10 different goddamn smart apps on my phone. Nice, $2 for a Wi-Fi switch. Hell yeah. What is that? It's 16 amp too, so any regular outlet. Does it do monitoring? Oh, I hope it does monitoring. Probably doesn't. Some of them are just on-off. You can turn things on or off. Some of them do monitoring, so they'll actually tell you how much power you're consuming. The monitoring ones are really nice. Eyeglass, screw kit, nanotape, readers. Oh, this is a good one. 50 pieces of the solder butt connectors. So you put the 2 wires in the butt connector there, and then you hit it with a lighter or a heat gun, and it shrinks. It has adhesive, and it's got a little bead of low temperature solder in the middle that melts and creates a proper soldered joint. These are amazing. They are the cat's meow. They are the shit. They are just baller awesome. Do I have some? No, these are my regular ones. But it's like the shrink tubing kit you get, but it's got the solder built in. They are, if you don't have them, you have no idea what you're missing out on. You're missing out on, especially in a car. Oh, it's incredible, man. You put the 2 wires in, you melt the solder, it glues it, seals it, waterproofs it, and solders it all in one little butt connector. These are amazing. Now, usually I double up, because these are relatively thin. So I'll put one of these on, and I'll put a piece of shrink tubing on. So I'll hit this, seal it, and then put the shrink tubing on it and seal it. But yeah, these are wonderful. $2 for a 50-piece kit. You just get 50 of them as a sample, and that's amazing. Those things are amazing. Here's another one of those, but that's an iPhone one. Here's another switch. Is this one Smart Life? See, this one's probably not Smart Life. Yeah, this is not Smart Life. This is the one you usually see, which I'm not interested in because I don't want to install yet another app. Yeah, screw that. I'm stoked that one was Toyo Smart Life compatible. There's a Zigbee compatible one, so if you're a Zigbee person, another Wi-Fi switch, another Wi-Fi switch. Ooh, that looks like the other one, Toyo Smart Life. Yeah, but that's the same thing. And that one, signal and dual control. What's dual control mean? I don't know. But I already have one, so I don't need to pay $1 more. Temperature control. Oh, temperature control microcomputer, $2. Here's that short little A to C cable for $2. Here's another one of those Toyo Smart Life switches. Yeah, 2 different people, so I was able to order both. I haven't ordered any of these. I just added them to my shopping cart. I got no money right now, so I'll order these like in a couple weeks. Another Zigbee one. A Toyo Smart Life. Oh, a PIR detector for Smart Life. I'm going to add that just to have it in my list. I don't want to pay $4 for it, but there's RAM. It's probably crappy RAM, but hey, it's RAM. Another one. Let me heart that one. Anything Toyo Smart Life I'm interested in just because, I have that already. Wow, they have door sensors and stuff too. Cool. I didn't know they had all that stuff. Tempered glass touch switch. Little Bluetooth speaker clock thingies. Ooh, a water sensor. I'll save that. Door sensor that is Toyo compatible. Another peer sensor that's Toyo compatible. Toyo and Smart Life are cross compatible. Wi-Fi repeater, no idea how smart that is. Here's an IR sensor, so I'll save that to my favorites list. Intelligent digital vacuum cup water cup touch display. What is that? Is that like a thermos bottle that keeps your water cold? Yeah, I think it's a thermos bottle with a temperature gauge on top. It's 500 milliliters, so it's not like the tiny 350 milliliter ones. Here's another one of those flashlights. Like, here's 5 USB thumb drives. So now these are a little bit bigger. They're 2 gigabyte. So 5 2 gigabyte thumb drives for $3.99. Hello? It's a little hard to beat that. What is that? 60 cents a piece? No, less than that. No, it is. Yeah. 80 cents a piece. 80 cents a piece for 2 gigabyte thumb drives. For non-mission critical stuff, hello. It's 80 cents for a thumb drive. Car temperature clock, that's kind of neat. Motion sensing light. These are also nice if you can find them cheap enough. These little itty bitty thumb drives. These are great for resin printers because they don't stick out very far. So you don't have to worry about breaking them off on your resin printer. So these are wonderful for resin printers. Earbuds, LED clocks, SD card I don't trust. There's a digital scale for $3. Timer switch for EU people for $4. Little micro cables that you can keep on your keychain. High precision tweezers for $2. Window screen repair tape for $2. These bottles are handy. These are good for like epoxy and stuff like that, or for painting very small insets in models and stuff like that. Here's $2 for a roll of nickel plated steel sheets. This is great for making your own little battery packs, and like for example, when I 3D printed that Ryobi light, you could use something like this to wire up your 3D print. Again, for $2, it's dirt cheap. This is not an iPhone. This is an AGM. This has got a 3.5 watt speaker. It's got a 48 megapixel camera, a macro camera, a night vision camera with IR lights, and a thermal imaging camera. So I can take thermal pictures with this, plus the 8,000 milliamp battery or 6,000 or 7,000 milliamp battery in it. Yeah, this is no freaking iPhone. Screw iPhone. Temperature control module. They even had a little 5-volt water pump in here for like $3. Wall lights for $2. More USB powered chargers for. Here's a little string. Here's a 5-meter string of fairy lights. Those are handy for little projects because it's USB. So they're great for little light up 3D printed projects. Here's another red, orange dragon memory card. That should be considered inhumane. A laser toy on the cat collar. That's just cruel. That cat's gonna slit your throat at night. But yeah, you find crap like this all day long. You can go through this. Here's a little temperature probe. That's a nice little cooking thermometer. $2. Dog toys. Those are nice. $2. 128 gigabyte. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that's fake. These are neat. It's a spoon that has a measuring scale built into it, so you can weigh what the contents of the spoon. Here's another electric razor. Little Bluetooth modules for adding Bluetooth to older computers. But yeah, these are great. These little wraparound cob headlamps, those are wonderful. That's kind of cool. Big cob display. Here's some heat shrink tubing. So you can get some heat shrink tubing for $2. Motion sensor light bulb for $2. That's an iPhone crap cable. iCrap. Another set of fairy lights. So that one's remote control. There's a remote control set of fairy lights for $2. Looks like all the Christmas thumb drives are gone. Now, would I trust welding helmet goggles for $2? No. I'm not going to risk my eyes for $2. Velcro adhesive stuff, $2. Some solder. You don't get very much though. Little lights, LED lights for your car. Here's an external reamer. If the 3D part you have to print is small enough to fit, you can get a single ratcheting wrench for $2. Not bad. Just get a 6 or a 7 millimeter for your nozzles. These are kind of fun. It's a USB drive that has a USB-C on one end and a regular on the other, so you can plug it into your computer or your phone. Those are kind of neat. River bag, waterproof bag for $2. Again, hard to beat. Aluminum welding rods, $2. Oh, a bicycle tail light for $2. That's kind of cool. Here it is. Here you go. There it is. 10. This is what I was looking for. 10 pieces. Mine was not $3.99. Oh yeah, no, mine was $1.99. So they have it listed twice. I'm pretty sure mine was $1.99. But 10 of them. Even at $4, you're talking 40 cents a drive. These are legit. These are what are called custom logo drives. So here's the cool thing. If we go in here and we do logo USB drive. See? That's the drive they sell for their logo business. So they're legitimate drives. They're not fakes. You can buy these. This is $13.32 for 10 of them. And you send them your logo and they'll put your logo on the drive. So you can have custom logo drives for about $1 a piece. I was actually looking at these. Over 10 pieces, you get a free logo because you can put your custom logo on it. So it's a USB drive. You know, the little cable pops out of the side. There it is. You see the little USB cable pops out of the side of it, and you plug it into your computer, but it's like business card size. So you could put your company logo on there, and it actually is storage. So for example, I can have my rocketry logo on there, and then on the thumb drive will be the rockets you bought. So I mean, that $1.34 a piece. Hello, it's only 128 megabytes, but that's enough to hold every STL file I have for my rockets. They're just not that big. All right, so the stuff like this is actually kind of cool. You can get different, custom logo stuff like this. I just thought that was really freaking neat. Well, yeah, you can get some surprisingly cool stuff. What's that? Oh my God, it's a little mini phone in the shape of a soda bottle. That's adorable. Oh my God, that's so adorable. It's even got a camera and a flashlight. That's freaking adorable. If you fly rockets, these are nice. That camera is legit. I got one for 25 bucks. And it's legit, decent quality 1080p video. That lens swivels. So I can stick this into the end of my rocket and swivel the lens down for taking a picture of the liftoff of the rocket. And here's the big deal. First of all, it's a big battery. It's got a screen. I don't need all that. But the big deal is, I wish it was made of plastic, not metal. It's a little heavy, but for the bigger rockets, that's fine. But the big deal is one button record. There's a slider button right there on the side. And when you slide that to record, even if the camera's completely off, it doesn't matter. You slide that button, it boots up, turns on, begins recording. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to touch anything else. No, press this button, press that button, hold this button, check that light. Nope. Switch to record. Within 10 seconds, it's recording, and you don't have to touch anything else. For rocketry, that's important because that camera could be 3 feet above your head. And you're reaching up and trying to fiddle with it and trying to see the light. See, is it recording? Is it recording? Well, with this, you just slide the switch and walk away. And it's going to be recording. Nice camera for that. I also want to grab one of these. Ooh, that's the cheapest one I've seen yet. USB powered ceiling fan. Especially power house scenario or camping or any kind of off-grid scenario. That's kind of cool. They have 12-volt ones, but now they're finally starting to make USB-powered ones, which is really cool. You can get reamers. Here's the reaming kit for $1.79, $1.78, so it's actually cheaper than the $1.99 list. That's the where's it at? Oh, it's in the back. It's in the bathroom. But that's to clean up the edges of your prints. Little remote control airplane. Even on here, they sell those talkie cables for $6. 128 gigabytes for $365. I'm not gonna take a chance. If you want to chance it, go ahead, but I'm not. Not worth it to me. Here's another one of those kits. It's $4, but you can get it for $2 on the list. The 50-piece kit. It doesn't come with a case or anything. It's just in a little baggie. Do I have them here? I got a bunch of nozzles. No, I don't see it here. I got it here somewhere. Oh, that might be it. Here's two more of the I got two more of the calipers, so I can keep one in every station. But I never have to go hunting for one of the damn things. I'm probably better not put a magnet on it. That might be a bad idea. But just remember, it doesn't come with a battery, so you're gonna need to buy batteries. But I have a whole case of batteries. Here's that little LED flashlight. I can turn that off. So here's that little LED flash. This one actually has a clip on it, but you can I think if you press, it turns on and then turns off. So if you press and hold, it turns on, so you can see what you're doing, and you let go and it turns off. So it's great on your keychain. Press hold, full power, see what you gotta see, you know, really bright, and then you let go, it turns off. If you double tap, it turns on. So now we're on dim. This is called Firefly mode. This is great for looking in your purse, your wallet, your glove box, you know, looking in your jacket pocket, whatever. You know, it's a nice dim mode. And then you can hit it again for brighter, hit it again for brighter, then hit it again for brighter. So I think it's got 4 modes. Yeah, 4 modes. So low, medium, high, and burn your eyeballs. And then press and hold. I think triple tap. Yeah, it turns on a little side light. So that's great. You can pin that to your jacket and light up an area, or set it down on a table and light up an entire area. So it's a little area light, and then it's got different modes. So there's a blinking mode. It's got a blue LED, a red LED. I think it does a little flashy mode. Yeah, there's red flash. There's red and blue. Your kids will love that on their bikes. And then back to white, and you press and hold, turn off. Nice little lights. And then underneath this port is a little USB-C connector to charge it. It actually blinded me a little bit. But those are great little lights, especially for $2. I got this stylus for the phone, and it's okay. It's metal, it's nice, but it's got one of those flat tips instead of the points. Another one of the lights. So stick that to the printer, and then here's the USB cables. There's a C to C with a display. There's an A to C with a display. Another light with its USB-C cable. Another little flashlight. Same thing. Press and hold, turn on, let go off. And of course, they all come with the little USB cables. So you'll have a ton of those little USB cables. Another light. See, I got all 4. Each of them comes with a little tiny USB-C cable. Here's another C to C with a screen on it. Here's all the cables that came with the lights. Oh, this is kind of cool. I only got one because I don't need more than one. But I probably should get a second one for in the house and one for in the field box. But this is a little X-Acto knife. So it's a little tiny hobby knife. So that's great for something to keep on your keychain. Just don't accidentally go to the airport because they'll take it. Hey, Mad Max. So again, it's brass. It's a beautiful little blade. And it's $2. I hope that blade's 2-sided so you can flip it around, but I doubt it. But yeah, that's a beautiful little hobby knife. Great for keeping in your field box. Here's the little reaming bits that I got. Except that, of course, it didn't come with a little T-handle. But that's all your standard metric sizes that you're going to use. This is good for cleaning out threads in your 3D prints if you want to pre-thread them. So if you have roughly printed 3D print threads, or if you just have a hole and you want to pre-thread it first with one of these, you can go through and clean up the threads a little bit so that your fasteners will fit better. Just be careful. It's easy to screw up that when you do 3D printing. But yeah, just having all these cables. Here's 4 of them right here, and I got 2 in the car. So I got 6 of these cables already. But these are wonderful. They're nylon braided. They're thick and heavy duty. They have good strain relief, and they have the built-in display screen on the end that tells you how much power your device is drawing. So that for the big thing, you could diagnose if something's wrong too. You make sure it's actually pushing the right amount of power, and make sure your USB power supply can actually deliver the amount of power it says it can. It's nice. So those are nice, and of course, you know, I got 3 of these now. So for $2 a piece, there's $6. For less than you'd pay for one on Amazon, I got 3. Just remember, you need those AG or LR44 batteries. I have a whole case of them here somewhere there. I got a whole freaking box of them. So I got tons of these batteries. But just remember, this is all from AliExpress. No search. This is all from the $1.99 list. So you cannot use the website. You have to use the app. And when you go in the app, it'll present it to you when you first open up the app. Let me see if it does it again. Spot. So when you first open up the app, it presents it to you. Usually. But here at the top here, see? One from $1.99. So you click on that $1.99 section. And now everything in here is $1.99. So here's that little light that I got. That's these little lights. Here's the USB cable, $1.99. And then, of course, here's some Toyo and Zigbee switches and the endoscope for $1.99. The SD cards. As long as you get an SD card that has a custom logoed picture on it, they're 12 days, less than 2 weeks. And I've gotten them faster. But they guarantee 12-day delivery. It's a special thing they're running. But these custom logo cards are legit. The 32 gig ones are actually 32 gig. The 64 gig ones are actually 64 gig. They're a little slow, 30 megabits per second, so they're USB 2 speeds. But they're legitimate. And I have a whole fleet of them. Because I'm running out of micro SD cards. And now I have a whole bunch of them. So these are all, that Samsung one is a legit one I got from Amazon. But you got the, Santa Claus flying an airplane for Christmas. And you have the soccer one. That one's legit. You have the Christmas one. That one's legit. You have the Homer Simpson one. That one's legit. You have the Halloween themed one. That one's legit. You have the dragon eating people. Yeah, see those two little specks in front of his body? Those are people he's eating. If you zoom in, it's actually people. I love it. That's my favorite one. Just because he's eating people. And the white dragon one is legit, and the one with the Santa hat on the apple is legit. Those are all legitimate. They are real. They're not fake, So just, obviously if you see one that's named, I would probably avoid it. So for example, here's a white dragon one. I ordered that one. Here's the Halloween one. That's legitimate. Now, something like this, is it legit? It probably is. Am I going to risk it? Nah, not worth it. Plus, it doesn't look cool. I got those because they had cool pictures. I didn't even care if they were fake because I'm just going to use them for 3D printers. So even if they're only a 10th their capacity, that's still enough for hundreds of prints. But these I probably wouldn't trust. They're probably legitimate, especially in the 32 to 64 gig range. It's not worth faking them at that point because you could buy them on Amazon for $5. They're probably legit, but I'm not going to take a chance. You're protected. You'll get your money back if they're fake. AliExpress is like Amazon. They'll refund your money if you get a fake product. But I just don't want to deal with the hassle. I don't want to wait 2 weeks to find out. Here's a lock picking set for $2. I figured I'd play with that. Remote switches. Here's the flashlight I was showing you. SanDisk Ultra 8 gigabytes. Probably legitimate. It's an 8 gigabyte card. Who the hell's going to fake an 8 gigabyte card? No one. It's not worth it. But I don't know if I want to take a chance. But again, for $2, it's a 3D printer card. More smart. These smart switches weren't here a couple days ago, so this is a bunch of new stuff that got added. A whole bunch of thumb drives. You can get USB thumb drives. I want these music boxes. I love music boxes, but I just didn't want to. I want the Jurassic Park one so bad. God, I want that Jurassic Park one. You got to pick a random one, but I really want that Jurassic Park one. Motion sensor like this one here, I wouldn't trust. Again, it's probably real. It's probably not a real Kingston Canvas Select Plus card, but it's probably a real 32 gigabyte card. It's not worth the hassle. When you have plenty available that you know are good, why risk it on one that might not be good? So just stick with the ones. Oh, these are great for resin printers. It's the little tiny. Also, these are great in your car. If you have a car that has a USB port, you can load MP3 files onto a thumb drive, or for a resin printer. These are wonderful because they don't stick out very far, so you don't have to worry about breaking them off. Let's see. Again, this is probably legitimate, but it's not worth the risk. Now this one pisses me off because I want this. I want to make a nice clock and try selling it locally, but you don't get that nice. I want that brass one. That's the one I want, but that's not the one you get. You get none of these. None of these is the one you get. Or maybe it is. Yeah, that's the one you get. You get something like that. You don't get that nice brass one. Well, it says I can pick it. Oh, maybe I can. Oh, I can pick it. Okay, let me at it. Maybe I can get that one. Before you didn't get that nice gold one, which would look nice on the clock. You got 2 weeks. They say free 12-day delivery. There's like a promotional thing they're running. Now, you can't get 2. So, for example, you'll see some of them it doesn't let me add. See, it says I already got it. All I got to do is wait a day or 2 after I place the order, and then it lets me order it again. Just wait a couple days and you can order it again. Here we go. $3.99 for 10 64 megabyte USB drives. What are you going to do with 64 megabytes? Have you looked at how large your G-code files are? Yeah, they're not very big. They're a couple hundred kilobytes. 64 megabytes will allow you to put more G-code files on your printer than you're ever going to print. You know, even my gigantic, massive, 16-piece, 5-part, 6-color, multi-piece G-code file here. Look at all the files I have in here. Oops, wrong screen. Look at all the crap I have in here. All this stuff with all these processes. This is only a 48 megabyte G-code file. Okay? So you get 10 of them for $4. I'm sorry, but that's 80 cents a drive. I am totally okay with paying 80 cents for a 64 megabyte drive. That's going to be perfectly adequate for a 3D printer. So if you've got, half a dozen 3D printers and they take USB drives, this is incredible. Another flashlight. Here's a humidity sensor to put in your dry box. $2. Although check eBay first. Every now and then I see somebody selling these for $1, for 99 cents. Although I haven't seen that in a long time. 32 gigabyte SD card for $1.99. Am I going to trust my my trip to Naram taking 3,000 pictures to that card? Not on your life. Am I going to trust the 3D print of that? Or maybe a camera and a rocket that I suspect might crash? Sure. Okay. Why not? It's cheap. But yeah, it's legit now. Now, it looks like they're cycling stuff out and they're getting new stuff in. So if you want to get those SD cards, get it. I gain nothing. I don't have an affiliate link for this. There's no way for me to give you an affiliate link for this. This is only in the app. It's a special section of the app. You see $1.99. So you go to the $1.99 section on the app, and that's how you get that. But yeah, that's incredible. That's just like, hello, yes, please. I've had to stop because I have no money. Even though each order is only $20, I don't have any money, so I had to stop. But I now have enough cables that I don't have to worry about, enough calipers to not worry about, enough flashlights to not have to worry about it. It takes 2 weeks to get here. It's wonderful. The only thing is you can't search. You just have to scroll through the list. Apparently, some countries are limiting you to 3 items per order, but again, it's free shipping. Place the order and then place another order. In the U.S., they're allowing 10, so you can get 10 items per order. So each order is like $21, tax. But definite good buys, in my opinion, are the little 50 packs of this is not a 50 pack, but heat shrink tubing and the solder seal tubing. You get a 50 count for $2. That's a great sample pack to be able to play with that stuff. The ones you want are the white ones. The white ones are the one you want, because the white ones are for the 22 to 26 gauge wire. That's all the thin wires on the 3D printers. Every wire on a 3D printer will fit inside of the white one. The rest of them way too big, but you need the white ones. And you can get there's a guy selling 100 white ones for like $4. I mean, hello, that's 4 cents a piece. It seals, shrinks, glues, waterproofs, and solders. It's actually got a little bead of low temperature solder in it. So you melt that solder bead and you're fully done. Again, the calipers are a great buy. So you can have plenty of the calipers lying around. Just remember, you don't get batteries. So unless you have a whole bunch of LR44, AG44 batteries, like I do, you'll have to buy batteries for them because they don't come with the batteries. But you can go to the dollar store and get 2 of them for $1. So for $2.50 each, you get calipers. You can get nippers, but you probably already have a whole bunch of nippers. Again, $1.99 from that list. The little flashlights are great. These are wonderful around your 3D printer. These are like a multi-purpose micro light. So it's got a clip, like a carabiner clip. It's got a stand so you can stand it up. It's got a magnet. That's what you're going to like, the magnet, because it'll stick to the steel frame of your 3D printer. So I stick one of these on each active printer. And, or if I have like 3 or 4 printers in one spot, I'll have one of these on one of them. Like here on my table, I have one sitting here on this printer right here. It just snicks to the side of the printer. And what I do is I put it on low, and then I sit it right on top of the print bed, and it allows me to see that first layer and make sure that first layer is going down properly. It allows me to make sure the nozzle height's correct. USB-C rechargeable. If you have to go looking in a closet for something, you put it on high mode and it's super bright. It'll light up an entire area. It's actually a shockingly bright light. After it's been on for a bit, you don't have to go through the modes. It'll just turn off when you press the button. But those are well worth $2. This exact USB cable right now is for sale on Amazon for $9. $8 or $9 with the coupon code. $2. Nylon braided, tension strain relief, and it has a little display on the end of it that actually lights up and tells you how many watts your phone's consuming, or whatever you plug into it is consuming. Make sure you get it, if you're in the US, make sure you get into Amazon Shopper Panel. I don't get nothing from that, but they're not giving everybody the ability to scan receipts anymore. Some are only getting surveys and the ads, if you let them watch the ads on your phone. And what I do is I just take an old phone that I have lying around, and I just run it on that. It has to have Android 10. If it's older than Android 10, it won't work. But I just let that run because for some reason the VPN they run is not compatible with my Oukitel and AGM phones, but it's compatible with my LG and Samsung and Sony phones. Okay. So I just run it on one of these and I just leave it here on the desk. And I get $14 a month for nothing. Hello. Yes, please. Thank you. I'll take your money. This phone here has been on the waiting list. My dad's old phone, his old account has been on the waiting list for about 8 months, and I finally got in. And I can't do receipts. I can only do so if you open up the Amazon Shopper Panel, and if I go to receipts, space is limited for receipt sharing. So I can't do receipts. Yeah, only ads. But still, just put it on an old phone, log into your Amazon account on an old Android 10 phone, open up the shop, unless you don't have a compatibility problem. I usually get at least 3 surveys a month. It's weird. On this account, I got 6 surveys this month, and on this account, I got 3. Okay? I don't know why the difference, but who cares? It's free money. Like, it's literally, the $2 for the ads is passive income. You're getting money for nothing. It's like, I'll take your money. Thank you. Don't forget Fetch and Ibotta. I actually could not believe this until I looked it up. I've been wondering how the hell I've been able to afford all this cat food, because I use this to buy. This is how I pay for my cat food. I could not afford to feed these cats if not for these apps. But in the 2 years that I've been using Ibotta, I have saved. I've gotten cash back. $1,257. There it is. $1,257. That's how much cash back I've gotten from that. On Michelle's account, $537. And on this account, I thought it was this one. There it is. Having each person have an account is nice, because then you can get, if you have a really good deal, you can get it multiple times. Like I have 24 bottles of Starry soda because it was 29 cents a bottle with the coupon. We don't drink regular soda, so it's gonna take forever to drink all that. But it's a nice treat. I leave them in the car, every now and then I need a drink. I got a nice little treat there. Boy, that's taking a long time to load. But I've gotten over $500 each on these accounts. So over almost $2,500 that we've gotten back from Ibotta. That is how we're able to buy our cat food. That's how we're able to buy our cat litter. That's how we're able to afford the food we have at all, is because of these apps and the money we save buying that. And it lets us try good stuff every now and then that we normally wouldn't try. So, for example, when they had that pulled pork deal, that pulled pork was $11 a pound. I would never buy that. But if you're going to give me 50% back, so it's only $5.50 a pound, yes, please. It was absolutely delicious. I'll take that all day long. Yes. So it's interesting. I'm finally starting to get the 0.2 millimeter nozzle tuned in on this one printer. It's giving me a hard time. I think the feeder is starting to wear out. It's plastic, but I'm finally starting to get my little. See, the problem with making a rocket this small is the details have to be thicker for the nozzle. So by using a 0.2 millimeter nozzle, this weighs like 4 grams. I think the max liftoff weight of the Micromax motors is 12 grams. So now I can make all of my rocket designs Micromax. So this would be your 13 millimeter motors. And then 40 millimeter would be your 18 and 24 millimeter motors. That would be this scale. That would be this scale. And then, of course, you have the big mamma jammas. What did I do with that nose cone? Yeah, the big 80 millimeter scale nose cones. Yes, you can absolutely print TPU on an Ender 3 without a problem. You got to remember, TPU covers a huge range of plastics. TPU can go from being nearly as stiff as PLA to being floppier than a wet noodle. Okay? Now, can you print Ninja Flex on an Ender 3? Not on your life. Forget it. 60A Sure Hardness Ninja Flex or something like that? Forget it. Never gonna happen. But the typical TPU that you buy off Amazon, the really stiff TPU, yes. Lower your print speed down to... Colin, thank you. That's okay. Dude, I appreciate it. Whatever I got, I appreciate. Just use PayPal. Because PayPal, I get 30% more, and I get deposited immediately. But, thank you very much. That's like $40 US. That's freaking awesome. But just remember, guys, use PayPal in the future so that I get almost all of it. YouTube takes 30%. When you pay with a super chat, YouTube takes 30%. Oh, another way for you to get free money if you have a YouTube channel. Google has a rewards app. So it's called Google Rewards. You can see I currently have $3.34 in my account. And they'll pop up little surveys. The most lucrative surveys, so keep your receipts. The most lucrative surveys, rubber stamps work okay with TPU. They work better with the softer TPUs because they squish more. But the softer TPUs are what you can't print with an Ender 3. But you can put an EZR extruder on there. And what you could do what a lot of other people do, mount the EZR directly on top of your print head. So you're basically creating a direct drive. And that should work. But you really need a direct drive. You need you don't just need a direct drive. You need a path-constrained direct drive to print the really, really soft stuff. One of the best, now I have not done this. You're better off consulting people who have done this. But here is my educated guess on the best way to do the rubber stamps on a 3D printer is you want a fuzzy surface. Because you want nooks and crannies to hold the ink. But what I would do is print your rubber stamp slightly taller than you normally would, like 1 millimeter extra, and then sand it. Take like some 800 grit sandpaper, put the TPU print on it, and very gently just because what you're looking to do is you're looking to make that surface as flat as possible. Because the hard TPU that easily prints on a Ender is not as squishy as what you really want for a rubber stamp, for a good clean rubber stamp transfer. You want a little bit softer for that. So sand your TPU print gently, just 800 grit sandpaper, even 1,000 grit sandpaper. Just get that surface super. Tape a piece of sandpaper or spray adhesive onto a piece of glass, and then or a piece of marble countertop or something like that. Something that has a nice machined flat surface. And then just rub that TPU stamp on that until you get that nice, clean, flat surface. When you rub your hand across it, you'll be able to tell it's nice and flat. While if you rub your hand across the print, you're going to be able to tell that it's not super flat. There's little rises here and there. But you can do it. You can do rubber stamps with TPU. It's not as good as the softer stuff, both because of squish, flatness, and absorbency. Ability to hold the ink. Now, you lose 30% of it again. Every now and then during one of my live streams, you're going to see me super chat myself. I give myself a super chat. That's because this money that you have in the Google Play Rewards app, you can only use it in the Play Store. This pisses me off because in Europe, they can deposit this by PayPal or into their bank account. But here in the US, I guess our laws are different, and they're allowed to withhold the money from us and not give us a way of cashing that money out. So the only way I can spend that money is with Google Play, which usually means games on Google, which I don't do. I mean, I guess if you do a lot of Google Play gaming, Android gaming, I guess that works for you, but I don't do gaming. So that doesn't do anything for me. I'm trying to figure out how to save up $50 so I could buy KSP2, because they're going to raise the price once they go into final release, and I want to get it for the $50 price, but right now I can't afford it. And any money I get has to go to bills. I got a $273 electric bill to pay in 6 days. Yeah, that's going to be fun. But at least we're starting to get warmer now, so I don't have to use the heater anymore. So my electric bill will be cut in half. But I found out you can use your Play Store balance for Super Chats. So even though I lose 30% of it to the Super Chat fee, I could cash this money out to myself in Super Chat. So if you have a YouTube channel, make sure you have that rewards app running so that you can pay yourself a little extra cash every couple months. Every 2 months or so, I can give myself an extra $10, which means I get $7. But yeah, so I've already got $334 toward my next $10 deposit. All little ways to make money, man. Little ways to make money. There are other apps. You have Receipt Pal, Receipt Hog, and Receipt Jar. Ouch. They are legit, but they're slow. It takes a long time to save up enough creds to get that $10 Amazon or $5 Amazon gift card. It's a $5 Amazon gift card. Fetch, Coin Out, and Ibotta are the best. Coin Out is my favorite because it's good paying. So you know, I've already got $2.45 and it's only been a month. So Coin Out's a pretty decent pay, and that's cash. I could actually deposit that $2.45 into my bank account if I want, but I wait until I have $10 and I deposit it. Yeah. The big ones are Fetch, Coin Out, Ibotta, Google Rewards, and Amazon Shopper Panel if you can get in with receipts. Even if you can't get in with receipts, it's still almost $3 a month for nothing. Evidation, too damn slow. They're so restrictive on the points, it'll literally take you a year to get a $10 gift card. I just stopped using it. It's a waste of time. But Receipt Hog works, Receipt Jar works. Field Agent is a good app if you live in a high population density area. Like if I lived in Albuquerque, Field Agent would work a lot better. It doesn't work so great up here. Oh, the pizza deal's gone. I was going to drive down and get some pizza, but it's gone. Oh well. Pretty regularly, Little Caesars will put up a coupon for free pizza. Did you buy the Sprite? Oh, I didn't show you guys the Spad Pad. I finally made a Spad Pad. So in Rocketry, now I was actually surprised how much of Rocketry has no idea what a Spad Pad is. I guess it makes sense now that I think about it. If you haven't been to a model rocket competition, you've probably never seen one. So you would have no idea. Where's the file at? I know it's on my desktop. There it is. So this is at Narum 59, I think. So this is a Spad Pad. So that's this little thing right here. Oh, over here. That's this little thing right here. Here's a zoom in of it. And basically it's 3 swivels. This swivels and this swivels. Probably the Sprite. So this is called a Spad Pad. I don't quote me on this, but I believe the guy who came up with it was Bill Spadafora, which is why it's called the Spad Pad. But it's all CNC Delrin machined aluminum parts. It's all metal and Delrin. It's very durable. Well, these are also quite pricey when they come available, because he made a bunch of them for Narum, so they've been using these for 20 years. So they're pretty high quality. I wanted to see, can I make a 3D printed iteration of this? And the answer is yes, and it came out pretty damn good. It's big and bulky because I want it to last. But it's also very easy to manhandle. So if you loosen this one here, this turns, which allows you to point which way the rocket's going to go. Then you tighten it back up and it stays. I actually modified this because even tight, I can still turn this. So I put teeth and receptacles in here so it's indexed. And then if I turn this one here, I can tilt the rocket this way. And then if you loosen these two, this opens up and you can stick a launch rod in there, 1/4 inch, 3/16 or 1/8 inch launch rod, and then you pinch it down and now the launch rod stays put. And I even put indexing marks. I've enlarged these so they're easier to see. So you have 0, 15, 30, and 45 degrees, and there's a line on the back here. Yeah, it does kind of look like Cookie Monster. Yum, yum, yum. I'm going to call it the Cookie Monster. I'm going to call it the CM Pad with that picture and see who comes up with Cookie Monster. That's great. I'm stealing that, Ben. This is now Chris Taylor's CM Pad. That's awesome. It only makes sense if you see it in blue, but that's awesome. But yeah, this came out great. Super heavy duty. It'll take about 3 days to print all the parts. If you have 3 printers, you can do it all in a day. You can even an Ender 2 can print these parts because the biggest part is 125 by 100. And I might try to get the 125 part down to 100. So I might try to take, especially this piece here, I might see if there's a way I can take 25 millimeters off of it. Because if I take 25 millimeters off of it, I could put 4 parts on the print bed. And so that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you could print these 2 parts with the 4 knobs together. Yeah. But yeah, this came out great. So now this part here actually has some updates. There's also 2 holes right here on the new one. So the way this works is your T-stake, your fence post, your tripod, whatever, that will stick right here. And then you can put paracord, string, rope, whatever, zip ties through these 2 holes to pinch this to a post like this. Or 2 1/4-inch bolts straight through. You know, like the T-post has 2 1/4-inch bolts through it, so that would go right through this as well. So you can bolt it, you can tie it, you can rope it, you can tape it, you can zip tie it, whatever you want. You mount this to a post. So this would get mounted to a post like this, and you zip tie, string, whatever, bolts, and that would get mounted. This is to make it assemblable. You technically don't need this. So here, I'll show you how this is really cool how this works. But these all print beautiful and clean. The parts just come apart like that. So we'll disassemble one of these to show you how that works. So this unscrews. These come apart like that. And then this actually comes out of here as well. I'm going to leave it in there because I have it really tight. But that threads into there. This then sockets onto there. And then this threads onto there. And you crank that down. And now that piece is assembled. This part goes together. This part goes together. And then all these parts fit together, all with these big friendly knobs with these big screws. Oh no, this the whole point of this is to last a very long time. The whole point of this is to be permanent. Now you do need a deflector plate, so you can see that in here. You can see the metal plate right there. See the metal plate with the little standoff? See that metal plate? That's to keep the rocket exhaust from, because if a rocket gets stuck on the pad, it'll actually burn right through that steel plate. We've already seen that happen many times. No, this is designed to be forever. So this is designed to be usable. I mean, could you imagine spending 1 kilogram of filament in 3 days printing for a one-time use? No. No, this is designed for clubs. I'm gonna sell this for probably $20. I probably should sell it for more. But a finished ones that would be like $60 or $70. That's 3 days of printing in 1 kilogram of filament. But the whole idea is to sell digital files. Yes, you're paying $20 for a set of STLs, but now you can make these for $10 each. It uses about $10 worth of filament, and now you can make, if you have an 8-pad setup at your launch site for $20 for my files and $80 in filament, you can make 8 of these for your club. And you'll never have to do it again. And if you do, it's serviceable. If someone damages the part, you can just replace the damaged part. There's no glue. This is all, and no hardware. No hardware. The only hardware you need is the deflector plate, the launch rod, and whatever method you choose to attach this to whatever you're going to attach this to. You can screw this into your sawhorses. You can zip tie it. You can rope it. You can bolt it. Whatever you want, this will be able to attach to it. And then this is all 3D printed. If someone breaks one of these screws or knobs or loses one, well, you have the files. You already paid for them. Just print out a new knob. That'll take about an hour. And you're going to want to keep a couple of screws and knobs handy in your tool bag anyway, in case you ever lose a piece. You're unlikely to break one of these bits, but I could see somebody messing up one of these. And I can crank this down hard, and it does not break or damage. I mean, I designed this from the top to be durable, to be extraordinarily strong, and to not have any of the problems that you might experience with limitations in 3D printing. So this is all serviceable, replaceable. If these get a little loose, they have little dips in here to allow a better friction fit, and these holes are slightly undersized, so it'll pinch the rod and hold on to it. But these just thread in and out, and that one's gone. It's history. See you later. I'm not bending over to get it. Come on, there it goes. So these all thread. You print these bolts. No support, nothing. Everything prints with 3 or 4 walls and 12% infill. 0.3 millimeter layer height, so they're relatively fast. Takes about 6 or 7 hours to print the 6 of these, 6 or 7 hours to print the 6 of these, and each of these prints takes 4 to 6 hours to print, where you could put multiple on a bed at the same time. Technically, you could fit all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could fit all 6 of these pieces on a CR10 bed, but that's a risky print because if it fails, you're screwed. But these bolts are super easy to print. They don't take much filament, and they're incredibly strong. I used a really, really fat, high tolerance threading. And then the high wall count. These are designed to allow you to control how deep they go so they don't bottom out and get too tight. And then this piece just slaps on here like that. And then this just threads on, and then it pinches to hold the rod in place. I'll put that on later when I get that one that fell. I don't feel like bending over to pick it up. My back hurts. But yeah, that's it. No support. Super easy print. Very reliable print. You can print one piece at a time. Just take your time. Print one piece at a time. Print all 6 of these at once. Print all 6 of these at once. Then print these one at a time. And absolutely no support required anywhere for anything. You just print, 4 walls, 12% infill. Do everything 4 walls, 12% infill. Probably 3 walls be enough. I'm betting 3 walls be enough, but go strong. Spend the extra 100 grams of plastic. Do 4 perimeters, 4 top, 4 bottom, 12% grid infill. Over extrude the infill a little bit, so set your infill to 110%. This way, because you don't want thin infill. You want this. The more structure you have in this model, the better it will handle the sun. Especially if you print light colors like this. You could also print an ASA, ABS, PETG. Although PETG might be a little soft, but it should work fine at this density. But yeah, the idea is to make something structurally sound enough. There's nothing thin anywhere on here. So this should survive in a hot car. Now, if you put it up on the dash, it's going to melt. But if you put this in the back of your car and your car gets hot in the summertime in the desert, it's probably going to be fine. The only thing you might want to do is when you open the car up, let it cool down before you start turning things. Because, the plastic might be softer. But this will be fine out in the sun. Because, again, light colors, big, beefy parts with lots of fill. And if you're really worried, print 40% infill. You're going to waste another 0.5 kilogram of plastic, but they'll be absolutely bulletproof. Like they might actually stop a bullet. Not really, but you get the idea. But yeah, so there is my launchpad idea. You pay $20 and you can print as many as you want. Just go at it. Your club needs 30 of them, you can print 30 of them. And, getting a spad pad, it's going to cost you $100 to have one made unless you already have the tooling for it. And then of course you have to have a wood shop. Now, if you have a wood shop, you can make these out of wood. Nice. Very cool. It'll be interesting to see how that holds up. It should hold up. PETG has a working temperature. I thought the TG of PLA was 40 and the TG of PETG was 45 or 48. Turns out it's actually 78. So PETG is actually a very good material for temperature tolerance. I mean, there's not many places in your car that are going to hit 168 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 78 Celsius. And that's the working temperature of PETG. So as long as it's not, when I say in the dash, inside the dash is fine. It's on top of the dash, underneath the glass. That's where you don't want it. That's a literal oven. So theoretically, that should be fine. And the carbon fiber will give it a little more structural integrity. Because, like, for example, I had to redesign my couplers for my PETG rockets. I only use 8 ribs. You see there's 8 ribs in there. So every 45 degrees, there's a rib. but the part's a little on the soft side. It's strong enough, but it's a little here. It's a little flexible. It's softer than I would like. So for my QCC Explorer, which came out absolutely fantastic, I am absolutely thrilled to death with this. I redesigned the mount to use 16 ribs. So far more ribs. But yeah, that feels so much more strong now. I like that much better now. But yeah, fully 100% or 99% 3D printed rocket. The only part not 3D printed is the part that attaches to the motor mount. So here's a 29mm motor mount. I can swap it out to a 38mm motor mount. And just turn that bad boy in like that. And the only non-printed part you need is a 10-inch piece of 29-inch tube that gets glued to this piece. And that's the only time you need glue. At no other point does this model require glue. You have 2 holes. Hey, Pedro, you have 2 holes through here to tie on the shock cord to the bottom of the rocket. And then this nose section also has 2 holes going through it. Right there, you can see them there. There they are. So you put a Kevlar cord up through one, down through the other, tie it off. That's one of the reasons why this is removable. So now you can tie off your shock cord, thread that on there. Because I'm having this on a body tube section and not on the nose threads on. That's another reason to have a threaded mount on the nose. And so you can either insert the nose as a slide, not in this segment, of course, in the nose segment, or you can thread the nose cone onto the body tube and move the coupler down to a piece of the body tube. And so now, instead of having to pressurize this entire model to deploy the parachute, I only have to pressurize half of it. We're printing rockets, huge ones, medium-sized ones, little ones, and we're printing, where is it at? Where's the little nano one? We're printing nano rockets, little itty bitty Micromax rockets using 0.2mm nozzles. And we're also printing custom multicolor SD card cases. I actually have one with 5 colors printing right now. We're also printing entirely 3D printed, no hardware at all, SPAD pads. So rocket launch pads, and it's all centrally, it's all on the central hub here. So when you rotate or tilt, it's all tilting on that one axis. There's no off-axis azimuth rotation. So when you're tilting, that's why it has this extension, so that it's sitting above the pivot point. And just Rocketeers like that kind of stuff. But it all threads together. Oh yeah, let me show you a picture. Hang on. It's printing right now, so I can't show you the actual thing. But without MMU, without IDEX, without multicolor, I'm just printing individual STL files and then swapping the filament, and then printing the next STL file, swap the filament, print the next STL file. The other advantage, even though it's a little bit of labor, I have to sit there at the printer for about an hour to do each of these prints. But the advantage is that I waste almost no filament. Even a little tiny sample of filament. Where'd that gold sample go? It's gone. Is more than enough. You know, that's what got me started. Remember the Decapicat? The CR10 came with a defective G-code file, and the head of the cat would be decapitated, but it would still print. It would somehow still manage to print. So you had this decapitated cat. It was great. So I actually have a jar that I bring with me. I printed a giant cat where the head's removable, so people could put their business cards and their loot and stuff in there. So I have a giant one of these cats. So this is the Chinese lucky cat or money cat. And so I added more details. I added this little rocket ship, little flame. I'm a masochist, so I'm probably going to make this a separate color as well, just because I can, and I'm nuts. This is a wonderful use for all of your sample filaments, especially if you use a direct drive printer, because you're not compromising the filament by feeding 2 feet of it through the feeder unit. So yeah, Sunday I'll have a video on hopefully, if I have it done in time, I'll have a video on doing this. It's very easy. It's really not that hard. These are all just separate files. So this is a separate file that's 0.2 millimeters thick. This is a separate file that's 0.4 millimeters thick. This is a separate file that's 0.4 millimeters thick. This is a separate file. Where the hell is it? There it is. That's a separate file. That's a separate file. These are all little separate files, and they're all cut out of this file. So I print that, then I print that, then I print that, then I print that, then I print that, and then I print the whole entire thing on top of it. That you could buy them. They're not expensive at all. No, this is so much easier. Especially if you have a direct drive printer. It's so much easier. Here's what you get. Hang on. So it prints the little flames. See over here? Then it prints the rocket ships after I change the filament. Then it prints the green ring after I change the filament. Then it prints the purple cat after I change the filament. Then it prints the orange T3DP print after I change the filament. And then I change the filament one last time to the marble. And then it prints that right on top of it. And not only that, it comes out perfectly smooth, because all these colors are sitting on the print bed. It does take a bit of work on the slicer end. I spent probably about an hour in Simplify 3D processing all this after I made the files. So here is my Simplify 3D file. Good luck trying to do this in Prusa Slicer or Cura. Have fun. I'm betting you can do it, but have fun. That's going to be a nightmare. So here's all of my files. You see I have 16 groups of 6 files each. That's all sitting here on the print bed. And then here's all my processes. Here's my purge process. I even solved the problem with how do I purge before each print without messing up what's already on the bed. Well, I created my own purge routine that prints this little file. And because I could do sequential printing in Simplify 3D, I always print purge plus whatever it is I want to print. So purge plus the flame, purge plus the rocket ship, purge plus the ring, purge plus the cat, purge plus the logo, then purge with the cap 1 and 2. Now here's another little trick. You're gonna hear. Let's see if you guys recognize this. One of the problems with doing single layer multicolor printing is that the perimeters of the base color interfere with the colors, especially when they're small. I'll show you what I mean. This is going to take a while. So we got to wait a bit for this to process. This is a 50 megabyte G-code file it's creating, and it might even cause me to drop frames. Yeah, I drop frames when this happens. There we go. So for sanity's sake, you use 3 perimeters when you do any kind of print. So here's your first perimeter, second perimeter, third perimeter. The problem is those perimeters are perpendicular and at angles to whatever fill pattern you have in for your different colors. And it kind of really makes it glaringly annoying. But you'll notice on mine, what do I do with that? That's not a problem. You notice how my colors are near perfect? See that? So where's the perimeters at? There's only one. So again, Simplify 3D lets me do this. I did a multi-process of 0.2 millimeters. So my first layer actually only has a single perimeter. So the first layer has one perimeter. So it's not going to shadow box photo frame your other colors, making it really obvious. It's going to create a really nice blend between the two colors. And then for print stability, on the second layer, I switch to 3 perimeters. And then I do my normal 3 perimeters for the rest. But this way you get that. I don't have a multicolor machine. This is on a Fucus Odin F5. What I do have is an SD card with 7 STL files on it. And the other trick is to, each of these colored layers, here, watch, I'll show you. So here's the flame. Oh, let's do something bigger. Here's the rocket ship. So the rocket ship just prints this. It just prints this purge, and then it prints these 16 little rocket ships. That's all it does. That whole STL file does nothing but do that. And that's only 2 layers thick, 0.4 millimeters, 2 layers. That's to reinforce in case the first layer screws up, and also to for slightly translucent colors, they'll kind of bleed wrong if you have only 1 layer. You really want 2, otherwise the color won't show very well. Especially for solid colors, you're probably okay, but for those thinner colors, the lighter colors or the translucent colors, like something like this, you're going to want at least 2 layers. Also, 2 layers is important because 2 layers will not cause a collision. If your nozzle hits that, it's probably going to be fine because it's so thin. It'll just melt right through it. And then the first file just printed a little flame. The second STL file just prints the rocket ship. The third STL file just prints this green orbit line going around the outside. The fourth STL file just prints the cat. The fifth STL file just prints the today's 3D print. And the sixth STL file just prints the gray coin on top of all of that. That's how I did that big Jurassic Park sign that I did. And that's how I did this. All on a regular printer. Now, certain printers make this easier and harder. You really want a direct drive printer. Not only does that make the color change. Oh yeah. Now this is just the single color, but as soon as those are done printing, I'll post pictures to Twitter and Facebook and Patreon for the 5 color one. But yeah. Let me switch. Well, because it's all printed down. It's all printed on the bed. Now, there are some things that will help. First, if you're doing a simple color one, you can do almost any printer. But if you're going to do a 6 color one like this, if you're a masochist and you're in the mood for some pain, okay, you need a printer where the first. Hello? Okay, I've been ignoring your calls. Because it's a Georgia number, so I didn't know who it was, so I ignored it. Hello? Uh-oh. Are you there? Okay. Are you there? Are you there? Yeah, I've been ignoring your call because it's from Georgia. So I saw unknown number from Georgia. Oh, that's a scammer, and I just ignore it. the last time you called, I was like, scammer, go away. I'm waiting for Toya to call. Okay, I'll save this number so it'll come up as your name. All right. Can you call back in half an hour, or can we reschedule? Okay. I'm in the middle of a live stream right now. Say hi, critters. Okay. This went on longer than I thought. I was hoping to be done by now, but we were having a good time, so. I know, I know. Yep. No problem. You got it. Perfect. Thank you. Bye. Um so you need a printer that has a very reliable for oh, my doorbell's the A team as well. I have a Honeywell doorbell. It's in my Amazon shopping page. I have a Honeywell doorbell that you can put MP3s on it. So when you ring my doorbell, the A team plays. I love it. That's the ringer I've been using for 10 years. I love that ringer. Um the You need a printer where the first layer sticks perfectly. If you have first layer problems, don't try this. You're gonna shoot yourself in the head. Okay? You need a printer that can very rely. You need a what I call a WAP. A WAP is a WAP, a walk away printer. If your printer isn't WAP capable, you're gonna have a bad time with this. Okay? So you need to be able to. I'm not. No, don't even peek. You need to be able to walk up to that printer, hit the power button, pick a G code file, and leave. If you can do that, you're gonna have a great time with this. This works well. Let me check the PayPal. Oh, let me do it on here, so I don't show anybody's personal information. I did that. Would you stop it? Actually, my original Wanhao i3 Maker V2, Wanhao i3 Maker V2, whatever the hell it was. After all the modifications, that was a WAP. That printer, I could walk away from that and it would work every time. But that was heavily modified. Stock, you could forget it. No way. Hey, $34 from, I'm guessing, let me see, does it show me who? Yes, from Colin. Thank you very much, Colin. I appreciate that immensely. Like, I'm literally depending on you guys these couple months. This is bad time. the but anyway, so you print each color 2 layers. That's it. 0.4 millimeters. You also have to cut that shape out of your object. So you notice. Oh, come on. Stop messing with me. You notice this. There's a cutout in the original object where that fits. That becomes important later because, first of all, you're going to destroy those colors if you try to smash through them. But also, you want the printer to avoid them. And there's a way to do that in Simplify 3D. I assume the other slicers can do this as well. So you assign each part as a different STL file. Start with the smallest, go to the largest. Now, there's another benefit to doing this. Did you guys see that that 2.5 day 16 color bamboo AMS print that the Print General made of the Polymaker figure? That was amazing. That was very cool. But did you see how much filament it wasted? Ouch! Now, this method does not work for multicolor prints. This method works where you want multicolor on the surface of a print. Because you have to sit there and do these filament swaps yourself manually. Well, they're about the same price. What is it, $800 for the new Prusa and $700 for the bamboo? The plus the AMS. The But you got to remember the bamboo is a Chinese printer, and the Prusa is an American printer. When I say American printer, what I mean is it's a domestic printer. It's made in one of the European or US countries or states, okay? So the Prusa is made in, was it Belgium? Is it Belgium? Is that where Prusa's at? All right, so the Prusa printer to Belgium's is the equivalent of, or Czech Republic, that is the equivalent of an American-made printer here. Okay, so no, they order their own custom parts for that printer. They don't order off the shelf parts from China. They might order their parts from China, but they're custom orders. They're not off the shelf. So big difference there. You're not getting the $3 stepper motors when you buy a Prusa. So there's a big difference between Tron XY buying off the shelf cheapest parts they can find and slapping them together into a printer kit, and you saying, Chinese manufacturer, here are my conditions, here are my requirements, here are my quality controls. I would like you to custom manufacture this part for me. Very different. There's nothing wrong with them ordering custom parts from China. And as long as they're not ordering off-the-shelf parts, because then they're no different than Creality or Tron XY. But you have a domestically made machine that's being sold for only $200 more than the Chinese printer. I call that pretty goddamn good. Usually it's a 200% price difference. I mean, if you were to try to make an Ender 3 here in the US, the only way you're going to get anywhere close to being below $400 is if you drop ship all the parts from China and you have no employees. You do it all yourself. It's the only way you're getting close to that. As soon as you have to hire people, forget it. You can't make that printer for $400 here in the US. As soon as you have to hire employees, you can't do it. Because the cost of lifting difference, the economic difference between there and here is just too big. It's too big of a difference. So, you need a printer that has a perfect first layer capability, where that first layer works every time. Second, you really, 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 really need to use a printer that gives you dynamic control on the printer. Now, you don't need dynamic control. You could fail the print, go back to the slicer, make the changes, and do it again. But dynamic control makes it a lot easier. It could take a fail and make it into a success. Yep, that's exactly why they cost so much. And then you're also getting support. So you're getting some sort of domestic support, and that's a big deal as well. That's expensive. Very, very expensive. That's why Lawsbot pre-China costs so much. That's why G-Create costs so much. That's why the mono prices originally cost so much. That's why Ultimaker costs so much. That's why Prusa costs so much. That's why MakerBot costs so much. That's before, when they made them here. That's why those machines cost so much. Employees cost... Okay, rag on me all you want. Why do you think Simplify 3D costs $200? Because Americans have to be paid to make it. It's not being made off the backs of thousands of volunteers putting free time into open source software. They have to make it themselves. And their only income, Prusa can afford to devote free time, free money to Prusa Slicer, because it increases sales of Prusas. Ultimaker can afford to put engineers into Cura because it helps sell Ultimakers. Simplify 3D doesn't have a Simplify 3D printer. So they have to pay engineers to make the software. Why do you think it took so long for V5 to come out? They got to pay people to do this. So it's probably just a couple of core people doing it themselves. And so as soon as you go domestic, everything becomes substantially more expensive. To be honest, the original Prusa printer, not that great a deal. It's a good printer, but it's not that great a deal. The new MK4 at the same price as the MK3 originally for $800, that's a bargain. I mean, can you buy, 4 Ender 3s for the same price? No, it's a one-time license. Now, it is possible major upgrades may come with an upgrade cost, but you could keep using what you have and there'd be no consequence. Thank you, Colin. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But having control on the printer, being able to control speed, flow, temperature stuff on the printer, and that makes crealities harder because you can't control flow rate. On the older ones you could, but on the newer ones you can't. They took out flow rate, which is really annoying. Now, the other thing you can't have ABL. You have to be able to level your bed in the corner. You have to home in the corner. Because if you do a Prusa pop, 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 pop to level that bed, you're going to knock off your shit. Okay? So you gotta be able to home in the corner. Next, you need a direct drive printer. You don't have to use a direct drive printer. Like for the Jurassic Park, I used a Bowden printer. That's fine because you're doing a lot of one color. When you're doing a little tiny bit of one color like this, direct drive really helps because when you... It would really help if I had that filament. When you feed filament through the feeder unit. Okay, once again, for people who don't know, the extruder is multiple pieces. All right, on an Ender 3 or this ME40 from WeDo, the extruder is 3 pieces. It's a system. You have the hot end, which is one part of the extruder. You have the Bowden tube, which is another part of the extruder. No, I don't do 3D custom modeling because I'm not very good at it. I'm decent at doing simple stuff like this, but not so good at doing really nice stuff. There's no possibility for me to be able to answer that, Mike, because I only have access to cheap printers. The only expensive printer I have is a MakerBot Mini and a FlashForge Guider 2. Well, rockets I have a knack for, but they're relatively simple. Rockets are basic geometric shapes for the most part. Making this was surprisingly easy. It wasn't very complicated in Tinkercad, but if I want to put an airfoil on those fins, that gets a lot harder. So I don't have, I have a Prusa MK2 that I've used a couple times. It's decent, but I wouldn't consider that an expensive printer. I don't have a Bamboo. I don't have a G Create. I don't have a Lulzbot. I don't have an Ultimaker. So I really can't give you an opinion on expensive printers. What I can do is give you an opinion on cheap printers. Cheap printers is anything under $1,000. From a hobbyist point of view, I love deltas. The way they move, the way they work, it's like art in machinery. I love watching my delta printers work. And they're fast as fuck, man. Fast as fuck. Can't catch me, man. Fast as fuck. They are quick. The problem with deltas, until the modern FL Sun, that was the health coach who's trying to help me lose weight. In the past, I would never, ever recommend a Delta for a first-time user. And the reason I can't recommend a Delta for a first-time user is that you cannot mechanically fix a problem. If you have a problem with first layer, and nothing is more important than first layer, because if the first layer doesn't stick, you're not getting anything done. And you cannot mechanically level a Delta. A Delta can only be mechanically or mathematically bed leveled. It is impossible to mechanically level a Delta because a Delta moves by an algorithm. This printer moves with 3 stepper motors. One controls X, one controls Y, one controls Z, and a 4th one controls your extruder. A Delta does not have an X, a Y, or a Z. It doesn't exist. The Z is the only one that's easy. All 3 stepper motors down, all 3 stepper motors up. But that only works in the center. As soon as you're not in the center, it stops working. Because a Delta works by mixing all 3 axes together to create a planar movement. And you cannot do that mechanically. You can only do that mathematically. You have to be able to mathematically calculate how much do each of those arms need to move to create a linear movement. And to do that, no, Core XY is also easy. Core XY is linear. Yes, you need You need to mix the X and Y motor to create linear movements, but those are one-to-one linear movements. I can grab both of those motors and move them on a plane. And they're also, the motors aren't moving. So you can still mechanically level a Core XY printer by adjusting print knobs. You cannot print knob adjust a delta. You can adjust offset, but you cannot print knob, you cannot mechanically move the bed to level a delta because it's mathematically conjured, those linear movements. Which means if those linear movements are not linear, you have to fix it in math. You have to fix firmware. And beginners can't easily do that. So that's why I don't like ABL. That's why I do not like ABL for a beginner printer. When it works, it's amazing. The first time it doesn't work, you're fucked unless you know how to play with firmware and ABL. Because if it doesn't work, I can't just tell you, put a piece of paper under the nozzle and touch this knob. You see what I mean? So for a beginner, an Ender 3, Ender 5 type printer is the best because it's simple. It's a stupidly simple machine. There's very little that can go wrong, and what little that can go wrong, you can fix for less than $15 on Amazon. You can't do that with ABLs, and you can't do that with deltas. That requires specific knowledge to be able to fix those printers, which is why I don't prefer them. At least not for beginners. Now, my personal favorite printer, I have two printers that are my favorites. Ender 3, Ender 5. Although I think Ender 3 is being replaced with Focus because that thing is badass. It's a relatively cheap printer, but it's just got some damned nice features. It's got a glass silicon bed, but it's not glued on. It's clipped on, so you can replace it. It's mechanically leveled. It's got a beautiful touchscreen UI that's actually fully featured and responsive. It's not slow. And fully featured. And it looks good, too. You gotta say, it actually looks pretty decent. Although I still hate the fact that they use the goddamn icons for the file view. The way Two Trees did it with the file list was better. Because what do I need an icon for? You're not showing me a picture of the item. You're just showing me an icon. So there's no space. You have to actually tap on it and then see what the name is. Besides that, though, great interface. And it's mechanically reliable. The machine just works nicely. For my prints, I actually prefer Bowden because Bowden results in smoother prints. All that noise that you see those Voron people trying to get out of their prints because of their gears and the steppers and all that stuff, that doesn't happen in Bowden. Because the Bowden is like one big dampener. And all those little noises get dampened out by the Bowden slop. Sure, you got to deal with stringing, but who cares? Most of us don't really need to print that fast, and we can tune out the stringing. You see all the work. E3D, congratulations to E3D, by the way, for actually redesigning and remaking parts that the Voron people are finding that are flawed and fixing it. And I disable filament runout. One of the first things I do is short those fucking wires and disable that shit. You know what my filament runout is? Yep, that's enough. That's my filament runout. I look at the roll and go, yeah, there's enough on there. That's my filament runout. Plus the filament runout sensor is useless for most filament runouts because usually it runs out because the feeder breaks it. That's after the filament runout sensor. So it's just going to keep going. The place where you need a filament runout sensor is directly above the hot end. As the filament goes into the hot end. And it needs to be able to detect movement, not just the presence of filament. That would be a proper filament runout sensor. Clog, it's going to see it. Jam, it's going to see it. Line break, it's going to see it. But the filament sensor up at the spool, The only thing that's going to take is if it breaks on the spool or runs out on the spool. And then, of course, half the goddamn things, I think Prusa actually detects motion, and I believe Bamboo does as well, meaning they're actual filament runout sensors. Those are somewhat useful if they're close to the hot end. But half of these spools, the goddamn filament is pinched into the reel. So when the roll runs out, it's just going to bend your machine in half as it tries to rip that spool off the thing. That's why the first thing I do is I find out where the filament is pinched and I snip it off. This way, if the filament runs out, it'll separate from the spool. Yeah, you need some sort of motion detection. You need the ability to tell the filament is actually moving. And more than that, though, it needs to be at the hot end. Think about TPU escaping the feeder. Well, your optical sensor is going to say the filament's still moving. It is all over your room. So that's better than what Creality uses, but a good filament runout sensor needs to be integrated into the hot end. It needs to be just above the cold zone and be able to tell when that filament stops moving. And of course, like Prusa and Bamboo do, it needs to be integrated into the firmware so that if the firmware commands a stop, the filament sensor doesn't falsely trigger. But I assume that they're built-in compatibility for that. But the reason you want a direct drive for doing this kind of color change is very simple. Every time you send this filament through the feeder unit puts teeth marks in the filament. And those teeth marks compromise the structural integrity of the skin of the filament. It's like, why don't I bleed all over the place? Because I have skin. That skin holds the blood in. But if I cut the skin, blood comes out. Well, with filament, it's the opposite. PLA is actually hygroscopic. This is PETG. PLA is hygroscopic. It will absorb moisture. And when PLA absorbs moisture, it becomes brittle. You ever notice that this is probably not going to break because it's PETG, but maybe it will. You ever notice that the part with the teeth in it breaks really easy when it's PLA? It just snaps. And you have to keep going back, snap, 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 and you keep moving back until it bends. Well, if you notice, where it snaps is where the teeth dug into it in the feeder unit. Now, in a big print, that doesn't matter. But when you're using a little tiny bit of filament to do a little bit of color like this, it'd be nice not to waste all that filament. And all the filament that goes through the feeder of the Bowden tube is wasted because the next day, tomorrow, it's all going to snap. And you're not going to be able to feed it properly into the printer. And with this kind of minor color changes, you need retraction. You can't just keep pushing like I would normally do. I wouldn't care. If the filament was broken in the Bowden tube, I don't care. Just keep pushing. I'm doing vase mode. They don't care. So a direct drive, the feeder is right on top of the hot end. So you're only compromising that much filament when you feed it through the hot end. So that's one of the advantages of a direct drive. It also makes color swaps painless. Yeah, back feed, put in new filament, front feed, back feed, put in new filament, front feed. With a Bowden tube, you got to feed it through all the Bowden tube and unfeed it through all the Bowden tube every time you do a color change. So a good first layer reliable, good UI, full control UI, and a direct drive is ideal for this kind of printing. You can do it on an Ender 3. It's a pain in the butt. You could do it on a Prusa would work pretty well because it's direct drive. Okay. Can you do it with a Bowden? Yes. It's not very fun though. This is pretty painless with a good quality direct drive machine, and so that's why I use the Focus for my my multicolor because it's got a perfect first layer and it's direct drive. But yeah, that's it. And also, you waste almost no filament. You waste about that much filament purging to get the next one, and because you're physically eyeballing and looking at the filament coming out, you know exactly when you've purged enough. Then you purge a little more. Yes, dual color is a lot less pain. Now, there are things you can do to work around this. So, for example, on this print here, you notice the purple is attached to the green. I could have this line run underneath the whole rocket, so that this is all one print, and I could also have a line connecting the D, the 3, the P. I could connect all this together. And what that will do is that will make it one continuous outer perimeter path around the whole thing, which will be far more reliable for printing. You'll be far less likely to have a failure if you do it that way. You could also do multi-depth change at layer color printing. So for example, I could print the first layer of this, okay, and just print that with all these holes in it, and then print a different color for the second layer. And then that color will shine through all the holes in the first layer. And then switch back to the second color, or just leave it to the second color all the way through. So basically, you'd just be printing the gray first layer, and then you'd print the rest of it purple. And so your part would be purple, but the top would be gray with the purple behind it. That's another very simple way to do a 2-color print on one machine, without having to go through a mess, like this. But if you do have that good, reliable first layer printer with a direct drive and a decent UI, and if you have Simplify 3D to make this setup process easy, you can do relatively complex prints like this reliably. I only have like 4 failures. And the other cool thing is, because the primary print is this, even if all of this fails, this print will still work. So I don't have to cancel the whole thing and start over. If one of the 16 fails, if one of these 16 rocket ships fails, I don't care. Because the rest of the print doesn't require those to be there. So a couple of them will have less colors. They'll still have the design because it's built into the base model. The new Sprite. Or they have a new one called eFit now. But I wish someone from Creality would talk to me and tell me why they stopped communicating with me. I think it has something to do with Naomi, but I'm not sure. But they just stopped. Dead, cold turkey. Because I'd really like to play with that CR M4. I really want that M4. But yeah, that's it. I always give them positive reviews because they do a good job. They're still the printer I suggest people buy. If you can afford it, my suggested first printer is still an Ender 5. It's a box frame. It's mostly assembled. You can't put it together wrong. It self-aligns itself as you tighten the bolts. It's literally one of the best first printers you can buy. It's incredibly reliable. Even their plastic feeder arm lasts longer on it because the filament comes straight up through the feeder. So you don't have the feeder getting cut into by the filament. Because the bed drops, you can do, I have an Ender 5 with a 0.2 millimeter nozzle. Because it's a bed dropper, it works very well for doing those micro fine layers. Yeah, the Ender 5 is my favorite printer next to the Ender 2. I was thinking about making it. I was thinking about Ender 5-erizing an Ender 2, like using 10 millimeter rails to make a little mini Ender 5 using an Ender 2 as the base. So basically, an Ender 2 where the bed drops. I think that would be badass. But I have a feeling it'd be pretty large. It'd probably be the size of an Ender 3 by the time you got done. So you kind of defeat the point. But yeah, I always thought that would be a lot of fun to do. But what are you gonna do? So hopefully this Sunday I will have a video showing this entire process. I've already started making video clips for it and stuff like that, pictures and clips and stuff as I was doing it. I just gotta get it in my head how to describe the tutorial to you. Yeah, but for a fraction of the price of a Voron 0.1. Stick with the Ender 5, moving carriage type deal. Less efficient. I don't know. I've never tried to write firmware for it, so I have no idea. I imagine it's simply a switch that you flip. That, Z goes down instead of up. Actually, technically, you might not even have to. You might just need to reverse the stepper motor direction. The Z motor is basically just on the bed instead of on the arm. And then the X motor is on the carriage instead of on the bed. So you probably don't have to. That's interesting. I'm going to do a multicolor one of these. Just because you have a lot of area to play with. And this is a really fast print. Oh. Yeah, stay away from ABL. ABL's a pain in the ass. I like my mechanical switches. The only printers that I have that are walk-away printers, well, there is an exception. The FlashForge Guider 2 is a walk-away printer, and it has an ABL system. But it's using a mechanical drop-down switch that actually drops down, and it's a $1,500 printer. So I would hope it's walk-away stable. The Prusa probably is as well. I got to get that Prusa out and play with it more. That one's probably walk-away stable. All right, I got to take this call, so I will see you guys next week. Thank you very much for the donations. If you want to help out, PayPal link in the description. Affiliate links in the description. Check them out. My Patreon. As I start releasing these rockets for sale, my patrons are going to get them for free. Anything I release for sale, my patrons get for free. So I will see you guys later. Check out this video on Sunday.